decision, and it's because of his age. And many people, at least on social media, are saying thumbs up Senator Romney for being the one to say, I might be too old by the time I finish my second term, so let a younger generation take the reins from here.
It's 9:08. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
I could not take my eyes off of this article. It was just published in The Atlantic by reporter McKay Coppins. We've had McKay on the show quite a few times over the years. It's all about Senator Mitt Romney and his upcoming biography, and it really does paint a picture of a Republican senator in isolation, at least when he was in D.C., kind of an outcast of his party, even ghosted by Senate Majority Leader at the time, Mitch McConnell, when Romney sent McConnell a text message 4 days before the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. Here's just part of Romney's text message to McConnell, Dave. In case you have not heard this, I just got a call from Angus King. Now, Angus King is a junior senator from Maine. And Romney goes on to say, there are calls to burn down your home, Mitch, to smuggle guns into D.C. and to storm the Capitol. I hope that sufficient security plans are in place, but I'm concerned that the instigator, the president, is the one who commands the reinforcements in D.C. and Capitol Police and the resources the Capitol Police might require.
And the most shocking part of this story, Mitch McConnell ghosted him. He didn't respond to him. How do you get a text like that? There's only 50 Republican senators, Mitch. You're telling me you can't send off a thumbs up? Like maybe a thumbs up. You know, hey, they're going to burn down your house, Mitch. Hey, thumbs up. Thanks for the heads up, Mitt.
Countdown to
Las Vegas. This place has been under a cyber attack for 4 to 5 days now. I mean, it seems like there's been a complete system shut down, and from what I've read and heard, that maybe the folks who hacked the systems there want a ransom. We're going to talk about this in the 11 o'clock hour, but okay, I think this is even more important to our listeners. When you hear about cyber attacks like this in a place where you have frequently used your personal information to get a hotel room or for whatever reason, there's no better time to freeze your credit. You're like, what? How do I do this? Hey, nice to meet you. My name is Debbie Dujanovic, and I am the victim of identity theft. Guess what? I'm going to tell you how to freeze your credit.
I've heard you tell me this 3 times. Have I done it even once? No. It is so easy. I ask myself every time we have this conversation, why don't I just do it? It's so easy to do. And it could protect you from the world's headache, that a migraine you can't recover from.
launch. Countdown. 1.
The national media all over this announcement by Senator Mitt Romney. Why? Well, because it is Senator Mitt Romney who says he's not seeking a second term, leaving the Senate at the end of this term, which means he'll be leaving in January 2025. Age is the reason, but his legacy after 6 years will have been impressive.
At the end of another term, I'd be in my mid-80s. Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
I appreciate a little self-analysis here. Oh yeah, I'm going to be kind of old, but this announcement made when 83-year-old Nancy Pelosi announced last week that she's running again. 83, she'll be 86 at the end of that term. Chuck Grassley, Debbie, this one's going to shock you. Senator Chuck Grassley is 89 years old. He's filed paperwork already to run in 2028 when he'd be 95. If he won and finished that term, he would be 101 years old. Mitt Romney is a baby at 76.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
It was the announcement, not only broken here on KSL News Radio yesterday morning, but also heard around the nation. A lot of national media jumping on this story. And while Mitt Romney is pushing for a younger generation to lead Washington,
I think both parties would be far better served
if they were going to be represented by people other than those of us from the baby boom generation.
The Washington Post says he leaves a legacy that would make his father proud. What is the legacy he leaves to Utah, though?
It should be impressive, or we should be able to celebrate his legacy in Utah. I think there's few politicians, Debbie, that I think have been more unfairly criticized, especially in Utah, than Mitt Romney. And it all stems from the blood feud that he has with Donald Trump. And nobody can see outside of that blood feud and see what he has actually done. But in just a minute, I'll give you the 3 reasons why I think Mitt is a much better conservative lawmaker than he gets credit for.
Well, here's his list of accomplishments, courtesy Senator Romney.
The last few years have been particularly productive as I was able to help lead and negotiate the bipartisan infrastructure law, a comprehensive China strategy process, religious liberty protections, a compromised gun safety law, the Electoral Count Act reform, and emergency COVID relief funding. I was also able to help secure key Utah priorities, including funding for Hill Air Force Base and its program to modernize our nuclear deterrent, as well as funding for wildfire prevention, water infrastructure, rural broadband, removal of uranium tailings from Moab, expansion and restoration of our highway and transit infrastructure, and federal studies to save the Great Salt Lake.
But he's still called a rhino, Republican in name only. Let me list a few things that, as he was listing these accomplishments, where I think he's absolutely hit it out of the park. Number 1, he's been shouting from the rooftops for years about entitlements, Social Security, and Medicare. That's 2/3 of the national budget. When we're talking about the national debt, we cannot talk about it seriously unless we talk about Social Security and Medicare reform. Senator Romney has talked about that from day one. We know Social Security is out of money in 10 years. That's number 1. Number 2, remember, everyone thinks Mike Lee is this great conservative leader, which, of course, he is. He's voted less with President Trump than Senator Romney. Senator Romney voted more with President Trump's policies than Mike Lee. Let that sink in for a second. And then 3rd, remember the Build Back Better? Originally, it was supposed to cost, Debbie, and hold on to your heart here, it was originally supposed to cost $3.5 trillion. And this was like height of COVID spending when the fire hose of spending was on full blast. They were going to pass this, $3.5 trillion.
I do remember that.
Senator Romney comes in and he negotiates. He basically gets Senator Joe Manchin, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin, and Kristen Sinema to move away from that $3.5 trillion albatross, and they negotiate it down to $550 billion. He saved this country $3 trillion in spending. You find me a conservative that has done more to save this country money than Mitt Romney did in that one instance.
And 4 days before the January 6th insurrection in 2021, he sent a text message that he documented, and the McKay Coppins, who wrote the article in The Atlantic, published that. I read it today, this morning. Now, I've read you some of that text message, warning about what was to come and what the chatter was regarding January 6th. Now, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell had 4 days to respond and get things in order to protect the U.S. Capitol. And instead, he ghosted Mitt Romney. I'll read you the rest of that text message next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hi, it's Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Why should you start your day with us?
We have decades of news experience between us.
And we take your trust seriously.
Come here for news tomorrow, 5 to 9.
On KSL.
2024 is going to be wild.
While I'm not running for re-election, I'm not retiring from the fight.
The race for the White House, all 4 Utah House seats up for grabs. And now, an open Senate seat.
Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
Listen all this week for the reaction, the fallout, and the road ahead. It will be your voice, your vote that decides. And we'll have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Hey, folks, if you are comfortable with doing electrical work at your house, awesome. That's great. There's some stuff you can do. I am not comfortable doing that. It's why I love having somebody that I can trust, and that is Master Electrical.
Master Electrical, Dave, is your go-to. I don't want you touching any electrical because I like you being my co-host.
You're
I
smart.
like you
Very
showing up
smart.
every day to work. So you got to call Master Electrical. They have this thing called upfront pricing, and it is their upfront pricing guarantee. You and I sat down with one of the owners of Master Electrical, and this wowed me. The price that they quote you up front, no matter how long the job takes, is the price you're going to pay when they're done with the job.
And the reason they do that is because they know if they go over what they bid you, you're going to leave with a bad taste in your mouth, and they don't want to do that. They will eat the loss if they have to.
And if you get a bid, you know how the bid can be from somebody else. It's like, hurry, hurry, hurry. I mean, how much is this going to cost me in the end? Not with Master Electrical's upfront price guarantee. Like I said, the price you are quoted is the price you pay, and they do everything from lights to ceiling fans, smoke detectors, generators, batteries, even that EV charger, because you're thinking about buying an EV, right? They'll install it.
Took a little test drive the other day.
You did?
Maybe you didn't know that. Logan Santa Quinn is where they serve. Emergency services are available as well.
801-543-2222. It's an easy number to remember, 801-543-2222.
Yeah, masterelectrical.com too.
Are you a business owner or HR rep? Does your company offer health insurance to your employees? If so, how do you know if you're getting the best deal on employee benefits? Every company works with a benefit broker who offers insurance plans. But did you know that a benefit broker makes more money when you spend more? Brokers are not only incentivized to steer you to more expensive insurance plans, but the more quotes they get, the harder they have to work and the less money they make. Most brokers get quotes from a few insurance companies, or they recommend you renew as is. They don't do the extra work to get you the best deal. Either way, they get paid. What if you could save 10%, 20%, or more, but you don't know it? No one should have to wonder if they're getting the best deal on employee benefits. My name is Keith with Magellan and Linden. We're a different kind of benefit broker that offers a best plan, best price guarantee. Unlike other brokers, we get quotes from every insurance company every year. It forces insurance companies to compete for your business and offer the best deal possible. We'll show you all your options, help you weigh the pros and cons, and then you'll feel confident to make the right choice for your company. Here's what you do. Step 1, visit shopmyplan.com. Step 2, we get you free quotes with no strings attached. Step 3, if you like what you see, let's work together. Step 4, you get the best plan at the best price. Your employees will be happy because they have great insurance. Your bank account will thank you because you got a great deal. If your benefits broker isn't getting quotes from every insurance company every year, you're probably paying too much. That's money that could make a big difference to your business, your employees, and your bottom line. You've got nothing to lose, so visit shopmyplan.com today to get the best deal on employee health insurance. That's shopmyplan.com. Again, shopmyplan.com. Let's save you some money. Visit shopmyplan.com today.
Advanced Window Products. Affordable windows from their factory to your front door in 8 weeks. Guaranteed. 801-850-9100 or advancedwindowsusa.com.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, police are looking for a suspect who they say fled a traffic stop when they tried to bring him into custody for driving a car with a stolen license plate. Second, 2 people were killed in a head-on collision in San Juan County overnight. And third, President Trump and 16 of his co-defendants will stand trial separately from attorneys Kenneth Chesebro and Sidney Powell in the state 2020 election interference case. We're going to look for a high today of 79 degrees and right now 64 in Salt Lake City. Let's get you back over to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
The reason I was a little late getting to the office today, Dave, is because I was reading this massive article that's posted in The Atlantic. It's about Senator Mitt Romney. Of course, we know that he will not be seeking re-election in the U.S. Senate. It's entitled "What Mitt Romney Saw in the Senate," and it's an exclusive excerpt from McKay Coppins, a reporter we've had on the show quite a few times. I think he's a BYU grad.
Yeah,
he's a BYU grad. And congrats to McKay. He has written the Romney biography that comes out. I believe you said it was in October.
Yep, exactly.
I want a signed copy by both Senator
It's going to be a
Romney
good read, yeah.
and McKay. Oh, you can get me that for Christmas 2 months early. I am looking forward to reading it. But this article is so intriguing to me that I wanted to. Can I walk you through it?
Yeah.
And stick around, Dave. Don't go anywhere, because at the end of this conversation, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes talking about that text message that Senator Romney sent to then Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, warning about January 6th, because he had taken a phone call, or initially it was a text message and then had a phone call, and had gotten a lot of really critical information a few days before January 6th, sent it to Mitch McConnell, and McConnell ghosted him. So they knew.
Does it feel a little high school cliquey? Like back there in Washington? Okay. Everyone's got their little groups.
Yeah. And in fact, as I read the article, it does, and I don't know if this is the intention of the article, but as I read it, this was my takeaway, is it really painted a picture of Senator Romney in isolation back in D.C. You know, if his family wasn't there, he was eating alone in the townhome he'd bought, and he made the townhome, it says, comfortable for his wife Anne when she was there.
Yeah.
And like every man would love, it has like a near 100-inch flat screen TV on the wall. That I think it sounds like he'd sit there and eat. I could just envision him eating like on a TV tray, you know, one of those trays you set up. But also spending a significant amount of time, reviewing issues and documents and the paperwork he needed to review. And one of his favorite shows was Ted Lasso.
That's great.
So
Ted Lasso and Better Call Saul.
Yeah. You can be in isolation as long as you got a couple of favorite TV shows. But Senator Romney, according to McKay, has handed over hundreds of pages of journals, and they started meeting in it sounds like early 2021. So hundreds of pages of journals, and when Romney couldn't find a key to a filing cabinet, he used a crowbar.
He busted into his own filing cabinet.
So there's just a lot of insight and just curious things. I mean, I'm rubbernecking this article all morning long, and that's why I'm a few minutes late to work. But it does really paint a picture of how this all started, and it starts before he gets to Washington, D.C., where Senator Romney writes an op-ed in the Washington Post, and it basically saying, and I'm not afraid to stand up to President Trump, that he has not risen to the mantle of the office. And therein lies your click, Dave, the click you talked about. He gets this icy reception when he gets to D.C., and it sounds like he was just never able to break through the wall.
Wasn't able to break through the wall on the Republican side of things, though. When he came down to it and he voted for Republicans, he absolutely voted for Republican causes. But because he was iced out, so to speak, on the Republican side, he was able to turn over to the Democrats and start working in a bipartisan way, the way Washington is supposed to run. But he was forced to be one of the few Republicans that had to work with the Democrats, and found some success there.
Yes. However, I do think that this isolation that I'm envisioning in my mind is the reason why he got ghosted by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Now, remember, in the days leading up to January 6th, I mean, we've heard some rumblings that they knew. This is the text message that Senator Romney shared with The Atlantic and McKay Coppins that was like, wow, they knew. So let me read you this text message. And he sends it a few days before the January 6th insurrection. He sends it to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. And he's had a conversation. Now, for backstory, he's had a conversation with the junior senator from Maine, Angus King. And here's what Romney then turns around and passes on to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. And I'm going to quote it. In case you have not heard this, I got a call from Angus King, who said that he had spoken with a senior official at the Pentagon who reports that they are seeing very disturbing social media traffic regarding the protest planned on the 6th. There are calls to burn down your home, Mitch, to smuggle guns into D.C., and to storm the Capitol. I hope that sufficient security plans are in place, but I am concerned that the instigator, the president, is the one who commands the reinforcements the D.C. and Capitol Police might require. The article goes on to say, McConnell never responds. Chilling.
And shocking. How in the world does Mitch McConnell ignore? Now, you can say, oh, junior senator from Utah. This was the 2012 presidential nominee. This was not just any other senator. Mitt Romney was the Republican presidential nominee. To get ignored by the Senate minority leader or majority leader at the time is so shocking to me, such a blatant sign of disrespect. I'm blown away.
I'm also, there's a part of me that just feels badly for Senator Romney, and he's back there fighting on behalf of all of the things that, the list of things that he'd put together. Before he got to office, The Atlantic says he put together a list of like 40-plus items, things that he really, really wanted to accomplish. Now, he has accomplished a lot in not quite a full term in the U.S. Senate. But he announces yesterday the reason he's resigning is because of age. I mean, if it were me, I'd also be resigning because I felt like I was just stuck in isolation. But he says, no, I'm resigning because of age.
I've spent my last 25 years in public service of one kind or another. At the end of another term, I'd be in my mid-80s. Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
So next, let's take your live phone calls. You've been weighing on this on social media. We've posted this to our KSL News Radio Facebook page as well. Should more politicians follow Senator Romney's lead? If they're too old to run, they bow out. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Your live calls next.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes. Let's look at some of our top stories this hour. A couple dozen Utahns are grateful to be alive after their houseboat burst into flames at Lake Powell. 25 people were on board this boat when, on the first day of the trip, the engine exploded.
Jump!
That's sound from video taken by Maddie Tolman, a producer here at KSL who was on the boat. She tells KSL TV everyone, including several kids, had mere minutes to evacuate. A mother had to jump off the boat with her 2-month-old baby in arms. The boat and everything on it is a total loss, but everyone on board is safe and accounted for this morning. A Harriman High School football coach is back on the field after he suffered a heart attack during a practice last week. His fellow coaches say that Taylor Cowan dropped to the turf while working with the running backs. They performed CPR and used an AED to keep him alive. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. At this time tomorrow, the United Auto Workers Union could be on strike against all the major U.S. automakers. Here's ABC's Justin Finch.
The union outlining plans to strike at individual U.S. auto plants at first, but also saying
an all-out strike is still a possibility.
Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, the manufacturer behind Chrysler and Jeep, all trying to prevent up to 150,000 auto workers from walking off the job Thursday.
The UAW wants pay increases, the return of pensions and benefits for new hires, and, by the way, a 4-day work week. Your money at this moment, the market's continuing to do well this hour. The Dow is up 221 points. That's almost it is a little bit more than 0.6%. The S&P is up 29, and the NASDAQ tech stocks are up 102 this hour. Coming up, mostly sunny skies today. Pretty much what you see is what you get. We'll check the full forecast and take you into the weekend with a look in just a minute. KSL News Time, 9:33.
What do you need to hear in the morning to feel ready for the day?
Important news that happened overnight, the traffic you'll hit on the roads.
You'll be ready for your day with us.
Join Utah's Morning News 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
If you own or operate a business, whether it's a local operation or a global corporation, partnering with Bank of America could be your smartest move. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll enjoy exclusive digital tools, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter. Position your business to capitalize on opportunity in a moment's notice. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, N.A. Copyright 2023.
Transform your outdated kitchen with half-price granite. Replace your entire kitchen with beautiful and affordable options with granite for only $2,500. Yeah, $2,500. Not interested in countertops? No worries. Half-price granite is now stocked with gorgeous cabinets and flooring options to choose from. You're sure to find something you love. Call 801-486-1700. 801-486-1700. Half-price granite. Online at halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and it's always so much fun for me to talk about one of my favorite places to shop, and it's a nice place to save. NPS, and they have 4 locations, one in Layton, one in Orem, and 2 locations here in Salt Lake City, just off Redwood Road to the west at 1600 on Empire. And I'll tell you, I'm going to underscore it's a nice place to save because every single day, NPS has everything marked down 30 to 70% off the retail pricing before it even goes to the shelf. And then, like right now, they throw in some incredible deals on top of that. So when I talk about electronics, now there are some exclusions, but most electronics are 30% off the already low prices. How about summer sandals right now, end of the season, but still plenty of time to put them to good use? They're 50% off, and I've just scratched the surface. You're going to love it's an adventure shopping at NPS.
Senator Mitt Romney says he's not seeking a second term in the United States Senate, and he's citing his age, that he'd be in his mid-80s, Dave, by the time he was finished with his second term. So we're asking the question, 801-575-TALK, of our listeners. What do you think about that? Should more politicians follow his lead, Dave?
Absolutely, they should. But if they are unwilling, then it falls on us. Every November, we can vote these people out. I wasn't going to say bozos. I was not going to say bozos. 801-575-TALK. Is it on them or is it on us? 801-575-TALK.
This just in. With the huge response we received from our Labor Day sale, we've decided to hold it over a few more days. So don't miss out on the biggest hot tub and swim spa Labor Day sale at Backyards of America and Hot Tub Factory Outlet. Save $6,000 MSRP on 10 of our select Sundance model hot tubs and save a whopping $8,000 MSRP on our swim spas too. Buy local and experience what a local in-house service technician can do for you. We make it easy for you to own a Sundance hot tub or swim spa. In Sandy at Backyards of America and in Draper at Hot Tub Factory Outlet. Don't buy from others until you see our pricing. Check out our biggest swim spa supercenter in the state with 8 in-stock models ready for delivery. Get $6,000 off our select Sundance model hot tubs and $8,000 off our swim spas. MSRP while supplies last. Because when they're gone, they're gone. Hot Tub Factory Outlet in Draper next to Cowabunga Bay and Backyards of America in Sandy.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Heather Kelly is in the traffic center.
We still have some residual delays on northbound I-15 between 90th South and Sandy and 5300 South in Murray, but those are quickly easing up. Now what's going to slow you down is construction. You'll see that on the east side belt, I-215 northbound around Mount Olympus, and also on Harrison Boulevard. Actually, it's US 89 approaching Harrison Boulevard. We have lane restrictions there, slowing you down. With over 30 plus specialties and multiple locations across Utah, Revere has you covered for all your health needs. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner for life. Online at reverehealth.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy today, sunny conditions the rest of the week. High of 79. We'll add a notch to that tomorrow with a high of 80, and then mid-80s it looks like for the weekend. But by Wednesday next week, 20% chance of showers, 70 for a high. Right now, 64 in Salt Lake City at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
Well, congratulations to Senator Mitt Romney for saying the quiet part out loud. The one thing we always think when we see like what we saw with Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, at what age should our politicians not seek re-election? And Dave, you had some fascinating birthday data of some of the, and we'll get to that in just a moment. We're taking your live phone calls, 801-575-TALK. We've posted this same question on our KSL News Radio Facebook page and are getting a lot of people weighing in on it. Senator Romney is retiring due to age. Do you wish more politicians would follow his lead? 801-575-TALK.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love for politicians to pull the good old-fashioned George Washington, where he says, I'm going to get out after 8 years. George Washington could have stayed as long as he wanted to, but he said to himself, I'm 8 years and I'm out. That's the way it should be. Why don't more politicians, even though they're not required to, say, you know what, after 2 terms in the Senate, I'm out. After 12 years, whatever it might be, whatever number that is, why don't more do that? Because they love the power.
I've spent my last 25 years in public service of one kind or another. At the end of another term, I'd be in my mid-80s. Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders. They're the ones that need to make the decisions that will shape the world they will be living in.
Now, we know that Mitch McConnell, then Senate Majority Leader, ghosted our own Senator Mitt Romney when it came to his warning about the January 6th insurrection 4 days before, when Senator Romney sent Mitch McConnell a text message laying out the information that he had received from another senator who'd spoken to the Pentagon. And Mitch McConnell didn't bother to reply to our Senator Mitt Romney, ghosted him. But I think Mitch McConnell should listen to the words of Senator Mitt Romney now.
I've spent my last 25 years in public service of one kind or another. At the end of another term, I'd be in my mid-80s.
Yeah, but here's Senator Mitch McConnell just a few days ago. In fact, it's happened twice in the last couple of months that we know of.
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
He's freezing again.
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026?
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute.
It's time. It's time.
Mitch McConnell is 81 years old right now. If he runs in 2026, he'd be 84 years old. He would be in his 90s by the time he finished his next term. Now, that's not even the most shocking number out there. Senator Chuck Grassley has filed paperwork to run in 2028. He's 89 years old. He'd be 95 years old in 2028. And if he won, he would be 101 years old when he left office.
James, do you feel that other politicians should follow Senator Mitt Romney's lead?
Hey, Debbie. Hey.
Hi.
How you guys doing? Hey, this is James. I used to work with you at a certain government agency.
Hi, James.
How are you?
I'm good. It's good to talk to you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling.
Hey, of course. Nice to talk to you, too. Hey, I certainly have an opinion on this. All we need to do is look at our president right now and some of the – it seems like he has some cognitive function problems, and we can't have our politicians and leaders staying in office too long if they have cognitive problems. I guess that's the bottom line, and we're seeing it at the very top. So I think Mitt Romney made the good call. He's wise. I think it's a good call to get out before he gets a little too old. I mean, after all, they're supposed to serve the American people.
James, well said. They're supposed to serve the American people. Perfectly stated. Thanks for the call, James. Great to talk to you.
Well, and it's not like they're making ridiculous amounts of money, right? A senator will make $176,000 a year. That's a lot of money. They're living also in the most expensive place on earth, maybe outside of Manhattan. Washington is extremely expensive. So $176,000, you're not staying there for the money. You're staying there for either altruistic reasons because you think you can do some good or because you're addicted to power. And I think far too often they love the limelight, they love the power, and they just won't let it go.
Let me poke the bear. Staff. They're being propped up by staff all too often who like to keep and want to keep their jobs.
Yeah, staff is definitely a part of it. But let's not shortchange the pressure from the Republican National Committee, the Democratic National Committee, because if you're an incumbent, Boyd used this number, and I don't think we totally absorbed it as well as we should. Incumbents win 94% of the time. So if you have a seat, you better hang on to it. You better hang on to it. We saw that in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania had a Republican senator. He leaves, he retires, and John Fetterman, a Democrat, wins months after having a very serious stroke. He could barely talk on the debate stage because of his cognitive issues, but because, like you said, because of the staff pressure, because of the national pressure, the guy's not taking care of his health. He just runs anyway, gets elected.
Now, on our Facebook page, we posed this question on KSL News Radio's Facebook page. Should Senator Mitt Romney, be the lead in this? Should other politicians follow his lead and leave office before they get too old? And most of our listeners, most of our KSL family members on our Facebook page said, yes, absolutely, yes. And then I get to Mo, and Mo says, no, you should retire after your second term, Senator Romney.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Before Dave and Debbie get started each day, this station is all news all morning.
And later today, we follow up on those stories as you drive home.
Get important news all morning and all afternoon.
Here on KSL News Radio.
Hey, folks, if you have a family member or a loved one that is struggling with addiction issues, let me tell you about Renaissance Ranch. Renaissance Ranch has been around for more than 20 years. They have a program that is faith-based. It works with men, and it has been highly effective in part because Renaissance Ranch understands the importance of getting family members, of getting loved ones involved, because the research has shown conclusively that when you have family support in the addiction recovery process, the chances of a positive outcome skyrocket. So what they do is they offer free family support services through weekly online classes. They're open to the public, and you can attend as many of these as you want. Having grown up in a family where my dad was a therapist, a drug and alcohol therapist for a number of years, I saw some big wins. I also saw some big losses. It was really a difficult journey for so many people, but when you see it work, when you see the life-changing decision to get clean, it is an incredible experience, and Renaissance Ranch wants to be a part of that journey. Check them out at renaissanceranch.com. That is the website, and where you'll find those free online classes open to the public. Learn more and find out where you can attend these free classes at renaissanceranch.com.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And let's face it, it's time to update the look of your home's exterior. When was that thing built? In the 50s, 70s, 90s, the 2000s? Well, it's looking like it. Faded siding, drafty windows, leaky gutters. It's time to take action now. RGS Exteriors has been taking Utah homes from drab to fab for over 5 generations. We only use the highest quality materials, like James Hardie siding and gutter topper gutter covers. You will be blown away by how much different and better and awesome your house can look. Your neighbors will be jealous, your home value will go up, and most of all, you're going to love it. Everything we do comes with our industry-leading 10-year everything guarantee, so you can sleep like a baby, knowing if anything goes wrong, you're 100% covered. For a free estimate on your gutters, windows, siding, or anything on your outside of your home, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
Want a new car at a used car price? I'm Josh Osborne with Volkswagen Southtown, and right now we have a surplus of new cars, so everything is seriously discounted.
Get up to $4,000 off the 23 Taos, $5,000 off the 23 Tiguan, $6,000 off the 23 Atlas, and up to $10,000 off the ID4 EV. Hurry in before we run out of 2023s.
Don't miss our surplus sale. Visit VWSouthtown.com.
Financing through VCI OAC. Call 801-903-2514 for details.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, a family's happy to be alive after their houseboat caught fire on Lake Powell. Second, a Harriman football coach is alive after a heart attack on the field thanks to the quick actions of other coaches. And third, the deadline for the United Auto Workers Union is today, and Detroit is bracing for the possibility that the auto industry will crash to a halt. We'll look for a high today of 79 degrees. Sunny skies out there right now at 64. Now back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Be Ready, Utah. Special coverage with David Dujanovic.
Well, in case you didn't know, you now will know that you can watch Dave and I argue live on YouTube. We're live on YouTube right now. We're trying to actually get live on Facebook as well. Our producers are running around behind the scenes on this, just working through some little technical issues. But we're with Wade Matthews right now talking about earthquake safety with Be Ready. He's with Be Ready Utah. He's back in studio with us. And here's why this is such an important conversation, because we're going to specifically talk about like the worst places to be in an earthquake. But let's backtrack, Dave. Let's backtrack, and actually it's still going on. The 2,900, almost 3,000 people killed in Morocco. That earthquake was a 6.8. And we compared it earlier this week to our 5.7 earthquake in Magna in 2020. And we talked to Catherine Whidden, who's a research scientist at the seismology station up at the University of Utah. What stood out to you about our conversation with Catherine?
Well, first of all, 5.7 and 6.8 sound kind of in the ballpark, right? There's only a 1.1 difference in magnitude. Well, she said there's a world of difference. They're not even the same conversation that we should be having. In fact, the 6.8 would be considered the big one we've been waiting for and preparing for decades.
And I think, if I recall, you're the one with the great memory bank here. A 6.8 compared to a 5.7, yeah, it's like you said, 1.1 difference, but it's 13 times stronger?
Yeah, the waves that are coming through and passing through are 13 times stronger.
So this was a much larger earthquake that they felt in Morocco, but it is on par with the largest earthquake that we're expecting in Utah. We're expecting a magnitude 7, maybe up to 7.5 earthquake on the Wasatch Fault, which would be, due to construction techniques, perhaps not quite as devastating as what they're seeing in Morocco right now, but it would be very, very devastating for us as well.
Wade Matthews with Be Ready Utah, Utah's Division of Emergency Management, back in studio with us. And Dave and I were talking after we spoke with Catherine live on the air. First of all, we were like stunned and concerned. But we were both curious, like, where are the most dangerous places for us to be when we do have the big one?
Because we could be anywhere. We could be on the freeway where my grandmother was with the big earthquake in California, in our homes, in our beds, wherever it might be.
That's exactly right. We don't know when the next earthquake's going to hit, so we don't know where we will be. So we need to be prepared wherever that is. But some of the most dangerous places, Debbie, is in our homes will be in the kitchen.
Oh.
In the kitchen where we've got lots of cupboards full of canned goods and dishes and glasses and pots and pans hanging above the stove and things like that could be flying off those shelves and start hitting us and causing injury. So that's a very dangerous place in the house. Also, maybe in the bathroom area, there's not a lot of place where you can take cover. A lot of times there's glass shower doors and surrounds and things like that. That could be a dangerous area as well.
I know, Dave, you had an experience after we had one of these discussions with your kids' bedrooms, and I think you should share it.
And I think it was, did you call it a home hazard hunt?
Yeah.
Where you said, hey, this is what you can do. Look around your house and see where the hazards are. And one of the recommendations was, look, if you have a bookshelf or something sitting over your bed. And sure enough, I'd prop my son right under like all the trophies and heavy books. Like, it would have impaled him 10 different ways. And we did. We moved the bed over to the other side of the room.
Exactly. That home hazard hunt is really important to mitigate the risk that we face when an earthquake occurs. Moving heavy objects from high shelves to low shelves. First of all, fastening tall furniture to the walls in the first place with L brackets or little nylon straps that come with the furniture that you buy. Fasten those into the studs so the furniture is not falling over on us wherever we might be. Then moving, as I said, heavy objects from high shelves to low shelves. Back in the kitchen, you can use that contact paper and kind of rubber shelf liner to keep things from falling. Actually putting child-proof locks on those cabinets, what we do with our kids to keep them from opening the cupboards. That'll keep those cupboards closed. Most people don't want to go to that effort, though. So the best thing to do is know the protective action, drop cover, and hold on. If you can get away from those things, get under a dining table or someplace nearby, up against a wall that doesn't have any glass or cupboards overhead, that'll give you that protection as much as possible.
Flashback to the first home we bought, and we totally remodeled it, and I blew out a kitchen wall and put a big shelf between the kitchen and the living room, and I put the heaviest things money could buy on those shelves because they were decorative, in my view. Not even thinking that could be one of the biggest hazards. And the kitchen and that living room space that's where we were all the time as a family. So that was not earthquake wise.
Right. Another dangerous area in relation to the kitchen is like grocery stores. And in that situation, just tip your cart over and kind of climb into that cart and give you that cover overhead.
Okay, hold on a minute. We're talking to Wade Matthews of Be Ready Utah. We got to go back on that thought in just a minute. Because Dave and I had a conversation with the seismology station at the University of Utah earlier this week, and they said, what happened in Morocco is at least the size of the earthquake that we're expecting here in Utah in the next 50 years or so. So get back to the grocery cart. How is Dave going to crawl?
It's a big grocery cart.
Right.
You're going to be shopping.
Wear it like a hat.
You're going to be shopping at Costco when this happens,
cards.
Dave. Okay.
A lot of people, when that earth starts shaking, we panic and we're going to start running towards the exits. That's a bad idea. Just where you're at, just if you can get to the end of an aisle, away from the shelving as much as possible, if you can move, depending on how violent the shaking is. But tip that cart over and use that as cover from things that might be falling.
One of the things that I have learned being with Be Ready Utah is the danger isn't so much the collapse of the building. And I think that's where my mind always was. We're going to have this building collapse, but it sounds like you're less concerned and it's less common that the building collapses. It's the stuff around you that is going to really hurt you.
Right. As the seismologist from U of U noticed, we do have a lot better building codes and building construction practices here than maybe in other countries. We do know that we have unreinforced masonry buildings along the Wasatch Front, and some of our computer modeling has shown us that we can expect a lot of damage in those types of buildings and potential injury and death there as well. We're not totally immune from it, but we do have better structures here.
Okay, so in 30 seconds, give us the best advice on where we need to be in our homes when the big one hits.
Wherever you're at, you just drop, cover, and hold on. You're not going to have a chance to really move to that best spot, but drop, cover, and hold on. Get underneath a desk, table, a chair, or up against a wall without glass, and just cover your head and neck with your arms and your hands. Kitchen, living room, wherever you're at, that's what you have to do.
Because it is kind of tricky to move during the earthquake.
Right.
But I'd also heard when I was younger, get in a doorway. But you told us a great piece of advice about doorways I haven't thought of before we started talking to you.
Right, exactly. We do not recommend doorways anymore. That door can be violently, moving back and forth and smack
like,
into us and
bam in the face,
smack fingers and so on. Yeah, so we don't recommend doorways anymore.
I think Debbie's daughter lost a finger in a doorway
she
one
did
time
when she was 8 months old. Yeah, not because of an earthquake.
Right.
It was because of her brother.
Yeah, slamming doors.
But
But he was 3. Okay?
There's an example.
Stay out of the doorways, whether you're a kid or an adult in an earthquake.
Right.
Wade Matthews, thank you. BeReady.utah.gov is a great resource that we tap into, especially for earthquakes. Thanks.
Wade, you probably heard the news that Senator Mitt Romney is not going to seek a second term. We're going to let you go, but I know you're going to want to keep listening to this discussion we're going to have next with our very own KSL at Night host, Taylor Morgan. Who's next? Who will replace Senator Romney? That question. Straight ahead.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour. Police in Murray looking for a man who they say fled a traffic stop and could have been hurt after an officer shot at him. Police say the man was driving a car with a stolen license plate near Fashion Place Mall and took off when officers tried to bring him into custody. We have a picture of the car and the suspect on our website, and if you have information, be sure to give the police a call. The Department of Health and Human Services reminding citizens to prepare and protect themselves from respiratory illness in the coming months. Immunization Director with DHHS, Rich Lakin, says they're suggesting Utahns get vaccinated.
May not help you from getting COVID, but at least it'll reduce the severity of the disease.
And he says other helpful measures to prevent sickness include eating healthy, exercising, and maintaining proper hygiene. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A cruise ship stranded off the coast of Greenland has now been freed. Details from ABC's Tom Rivers at the Foreign Desk.
It took a few days trying, but success at last. The MV Ocean Explorer no longer hung up after being assisted and successfully freed by a fisheries research vessel at high tide. And good news all around. There have been no injuries, no pollution of the environment, and no breach of the hull. The ship's owner says it will now be heading to a port where the keel can be examined in detail and the passengers will be flown back home. Tom Rivers, ABC News at the Foreign Desk.
Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average strongly up in early trading, 265 points in the green. The NASDAQ is up 109 points right now. And our KSL weather, lots of sunshine in the forecast. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, And us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
The best value in live TV and streaming is with Xfinity Internet and Now TV. It's the best network for watching all the entertainment you love without missing a beat, including live TV and sports. All your favorite shows and movies on a network made for streaming. Watch what you want, when you want. All you have to do is just sit back and enjoy. Get way more into what you're into. Stream on the next generation Xfinity 10G network. Switch today to get a great deal on a great deal of entertainment. And speaking of great deals, now through September 21st, get 1.2 gig internet on the 10G network for just $25 a month for 2 years when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data. Plus, there's no annual contract and you get Wi-Fi equipment included. Plus, add Now TV with Peacock Premium, a $5.99 a month value included at no extra cost for just $20 a month. Switch today. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Now TV requires Xfinity Internet, taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet after promo. Regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
Fall is here. There's still a lot to do within a short one-tank trip to Cedar City, Parowan, and Bryan Head. Bryan Head Resorts Adventure Park is open weekends with cool temps of 10,000 feet, along with plentiful downhill mountain biking and chairlift rides, great four-wheeling and ATVing, hugged by alpine forest and incredible views into Cedar Breaks National Monument. Cedar City's where alpine views and red rock scenery converge along 4 scenic byways or highways, leading to Cedar Breaks National Monument, Bryce Canyon, and Zion's Kolob Canyons. Check out visitcedarcity.com for the color report to see where the leaves are peaking. Live theater's still underway. BARD has your back for Utah Shakespeare Festival ending October 7th. For a cool fall escape, head to Cedar City's mountains for outdoor adventure or a little exploration of historic downtown. Start now at visitcedarcity.com. Download the Adventure Pass to earn prizes and great discounts. Go outside, be outside, and live outside. Just one tank away in Cedar City. Online at visitcedarcity.com.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Imagine it's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are taking you for a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Heather Kelly.
We don't have any delays right now across the Wasatch Front. Everybody's moving at speed on I-15, the east or west side belt routes, and the 201 freeway. We do have a small fender bender, though. It's on the exit ramp from I-84 eastbound, just before you get into Weber Canyon, right at the exit ramp to US 89. So that is blocking a lane, but there's not a lot of traffic there right now. With over 30-plus specialties in multiple locations across Utah, Revere has you covered for all your health needs. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner for life. Online at reverehealth.com. I'm Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, sunny skies through the weekend with highs in the low to mid-80s. Clouds move in next week with a chance of showers. And right now we're at 67 degrees under sunny skies at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas at KSL 102.7 FM 1160 AM and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
Who's next? Get in line. I'm sure there's going to be a long line of people who want to take Senator Mitt Romney's seat now that he's announced that he will not seek a second term in the United States Senate. It's interesting that this article in The Atlantic points out that the senator had this list of like 42 things that he wanted to accomplish when he was in Washington, D.C. I did not have time to go through the whole list to figure out if he's accomplished all of them. But that it was clear he quickly became frustrated by how the Senate was built around posturing and theatrics. And this is in the Atlantic today. You can read it today. Legislators gave speeches to empty chambers and spent hours debating bills they all knew would never pass. My worry is we're going to get somebody back there who joins the theatrics and gives speeches to empty chambers and then sends out press releases announcing that they've filed a new bill or they're signing on to new legislation that they know will never pass because they're just looking to get a headline. That's my worry.
It's a fair worry because that's what everyone does. I mean, that is got to be the biggest frustration and part of the reason why Americans are so displeased, disenchanted with Congress is because it is stuck in the mud. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes fast-tracking every piece of legislation, just pushing it through, that's not good either. We saw that during COVID. Everybody was united in spending money, and now we have record inflation, and we are dealing with inflation in a way that we've never experienced in our lifetime, not since the 70s and 80s. So I think your concerns of people being disingenuous, posturing, looking for their social media moment is absolutely fair.
I also appreciate that Senator Romney was not afraid to call out his own party. It began with standing up to President Trump with Romney's no-fear approach to calling out President Trump. It did not go over well with a lot of the other members of his party. In fact, there's a picture painted in that Atlantic article that Romney enjoyed a life of isolation in Washington, D.C. And I respected Senator Romney when he called out Representative George Santos from New York. He's the one that I'm like, Santos again. He's accused of making up a lot of his adult life to get elected. And then Romney was bugged when he walked into the State of the Union address earlier this year, and then he sees Santos, who's grabbed a posh seat in the chambers, and he confronts the guy. And then the media, they just run over to Romney as he's leaving the chambers later.
Look, he's a sick puppy. He shouldn't be there.
Thank goodness Senator Romney called out what he saw as a wrong. I appreciated that in him. What I worry about, we're going to get somebody that just falls in line with the party and does not call out a wrong.
Well, in part, I wonder how much of this retirement, so to speak, was forced because he was concerned that he wouldn't win here in Utah, that he wouldn't even get out of the primary, and how much of it truly was because he thought, you know what, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
Taylor Morgan, he's a partner at Morgan May Public Affairs and also KSL at Night host. And we know that Romney had another path to the primary, which was signatures. So, or another path to the general, right? Or was it to the primary? The primary to get signatures. So you're thinking maybe he wouldn't even get out of convention, Dave?
Yeah. Taylor, what do you think? Was this truly because he thought, you know what, there needs to be a new generation of leaders, I'm going to be too old, or was there the writing on the wall that maybe he wouldn't even win here in Utah?
No, I don't think that there is really any doubt or question that had Senator Romney decided to run for re-election, he would have won that race. He has plenty of resources. Even though there are critics, right, a very vocal but also a very small minority within Utah's Republican Party have been very critical of Senator Romney. But again, he would have won that race handily. I do believe that he's very genuine and sincere in stepping down and calling on the next generation of leaders to step up. And frankly, this is very refreshing. It is very rare that a senior senator anywhere in this country, but particularly in Utah, steps down like this voluntarily. Usually, once you get elected to the U.S. Senate, you stay there until the end. That's the pattern. And Mitt Romney here really is leading by example he is stepping up by stepping down, calling upon those in his party to now lead into the future. I think it's an exciting time, and certainly 2024 is going to get wild.
So who's next? Who's that younger generation leader? Let me throw out a couple of names that I'm thinking of, and we're gonna speak to two in the 11 o'clock hour that have kind of thrown. Trent Staggs, who is the mayor of Riverton right now. He's already announced. Brad Wilson, he's calling the show. Speaker of the House, he's sort of announced, but not officially, at least not from what I've seen. But what about Governor Spencer Cox? Yes, Governor, if you're listening, I mean you. What about Governor Cox?
Well, Debbie, at this point, anyone and perhaps everyone might get into this race. When we have an open seat like this, it often attracts all kinds of candidates. Just like we saw in the 2nd District special election to fill an open seat being vacated by Congressman Chris Stewart, we had 13 candidates get into that race for that open seat. We have a couple on record already for this U.S. Senate seat that were willing to talk about their candidacy or exploring a race before Senator Romney announced his retirement. However, it is now going to get probably to be a very crowded field.
Who? I want names.
Well, I'm hearing a few names.
Okay.
First of all, see if you can get Speaker Wilson to commit on your show. We had him on KSL at Night last night. He said he's going to make an official announcement soon, but we couldn't quite push him to make it official. Here are a few other names. I'm hearing Tim Ballard. There's a lot of speculation that Tim Ballard, associated with Operation Underground Railroad, might announce something. Attorney General Sean Reyes yesterday tweeted out that he is not going to run for the Senate, but yet he will be pleased to announce an exciting candidate soon. Many suspect that could be Tim Ballard. We're hearing the name Carolyn Phippen. We are hearing all kinds of names. John Curtis, Congressman John Curtis, has stated he is not ruling it out, that he is being pushed and encouraged to run. Dave Noriega, I'm hearing that name a lot too.
Good.
Huge support.
Good.
Huge support.
He'll be our Washington insider.
I do want to know, what's the pecking order? So we got president, vice president. Those are obviously that's one of one. Governor is one of 50. A senator is one of 100. House one of 435. Which is the upgrade? I'm not sure. Do you leave the governorship to be a senator?
Yes.
Do you have a pecking order?
Yes. You leave the governor's office to be an ambassador for sure. We do know that.
Oh, I didn't put that one in.
Or to serve on the
right?
president's cabinet. But what do you think? What do you think, Taylor?
I think it all depends on the person and what they hope to accomplish. I will say that being in the U.S. Senate is certainly seen as being one of the very top opportunities. Here in Utah, it is not very often that we have an opportunity like this for an open Senate seat. That is very, very, very rare. And so this is a unique opportunity in Utah's history. Anything can happen. I would certainly say that the U.S. Senate is far and away way better being in the House of Representatives, where you have to run for a campaign every 2 years. You're constantly having to raise money, and you're one of 435. Being in the U.S. Senate, it's much easier to get things done, to advocate for your state, and to have influence.
Taylor Morgan, thanks for joining us. And to that point, since 1974, we've only had 5 senators. Yeah, 5 senators in 49 years.
Where do you get this stuff?
I mean, that is an incredible number.
No, that's fascinating. That's fascinating.
Taylor, thanks for joining us, KSL at Night host.
Thanks, Tay. We appreciate it. We'll be listening at KSL at Night always. It's a great show, 7 to 9 weeknights right here on KSL News Radio. Next, Congressman Chris Stewart. His last day is, it's 24 hours from now? I think his last day is tomorrow or the next
tomorrow,
day.
The 15th.
He joined Boyd Matheson on Inside Sources. More from his conversation.
We have enormous challenges. We have challenges, I would argue, that we haven't seen in our country since the 1850s.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hey, stay right here for more of Dave and Dujanovic.
And tomorrow morning, come back here for news, traffic updates, and reliable weather.
Join us to have a listen. Tim and Amanda.
Your morning companions for news.
2024 is going to be wild.
While I'm not running for re-election, I'm not retiring from the fight.
The race for the White House, all 4 Utah House seats up for grabs, and now an open Senate seat.
Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
Listen all this week for the reaction, the fallout, and the road ahead. It will be your voice, your vote that decides, and we'll have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Summer isn't over yet. Better call your nearby Elite Day and Night home comfort expert.
Don't put it off. Summer isn't over yet. Have a new day and night air conditioner and furnace system installed with quality, energy efficiency, reliability, and comfort you can feel, backed by Day and Night's no hassle warranty. And it will reduce your energy power bills. Go online to dayandnightcomfort.com for a nearby Day and Night Elite home comfort expert. The difference is day and night.
Martin's Collision Repair.
50,000 cars repaired and counting. Just check Martin's 5-star online reviews.
And posted, Martin's service and professionalism is superb. They've repaired my Lexus beautifully in record time.
Hi, I'm Tiago Martins. Check Martin's Facebook page or martinscollision.com for your 5-star Martin's experience. On State Street in Norham and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martin's Collision Repair.
Here's a question. Do you wear dentures? At Grandpa's Dental, you can trade in your floppy dentures and get $2,000 towards an implant-supported solution. You know, they say the older you get, the more you need your teeth. Well, chewing your food isn't a luxury. And taking a bite out of a nice, juicy steak, well, it takes teeth. At Grandpa's Dental, they have over 10,000 restorations under their belt, and it's always affordable. When you walk into one of their 3 locations, you're family. Period. At Grandpa's Dental, they live their family legacy by building lasting relationships through state-of-the-art services. So if you want to stop the flop and actually eat foods you can chew, trade in your dentures at Grandpa's Dental for $2,000 toward your implant solution. Schedule your free consultation at grandpasdental.com today. That's grandpasdental.com.
Join the Utah Symphony for the greatest classical hits from the 1700s to today. Tickets start at $21. Get yours today at utahsymphony.org.
It takes a lot of patience to be an investor these days. Record high inflation, layoffs, record high debt leading to debt ceiling talks. But in the meantime, the market is looking ahead, reacting to what could happen next. You don't have to do this alone. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, telling you to take advantage of the high interest rates while they're here. Regardless of what's going on in the world, there are winners and there are losers when it comes to what you put your money into now. Because of the high interest rates, you may qualify for an upfront bonus of up to 25% just for opening an account and guaranteed growth of up to 10% for your retirement income. This exists because of the high interest rates. Don't leave your money sitting in the bank earning nothing, or leave that 401k constantly fluctuating. Roll it over and open an account with Trajan Wealth. Call 801-899-7600 or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, police are trying to find a man who may have been wounded when a Murray officer shot at him this morning. Second, we're at the beginning of flu season. State health authorities urging vaccination. Third, a cruise liner that got stuck off the Greenland coast has now been freed. Right now, 67 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic.
Congressman Chris Stewart, Dave, it's T-minus 24 hours. Remember when we broke the news that he was announcing he was resigning? T-minus 24 hours, and he's done with Washington, D.C., coming back home to care for his wife. Yesterday, he spoke to Boyd Matheson.
And, I mean, he has been incredibly generous with his time with us specifically. I mean, he would walk off the House floor to call in.
Yeah.
He's always been extremely generous. When we had questions, he would join us. But when he retires tomorrow, we will be without representation until December. So the rest of September, October, November, and then December is when we will have representation once again here in Utah.
The special election, the general election, is around Thanksgiving. I can't remember the exact date. Is it November 25th? It's part of the problem. We got to look this up. Kaylin, our producer, can you look that up? Just remind Dave and I.
It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving,
right? Oh, my
right?
goodness. Yeah. And we know that the candidate that Chris Stewart endorsed, Celeste Malloy, made it out of the primary. She's made it to the general election, to the November ballot. She'll be up against Kathleen Reeby, who's a Democrat, and other candidates. United Utah Party has put up a candidate whose name is January Walker. We'll be talking to all of the candidates in the next few weeks, but right now it's really a moment to reflect on Representative Chris Stewart's 10 years back in Washington, D.C. And he shared his personal feelings with our very own Boyd Matheson of Inside Sources as he kind of puts the Capitol building in his rearview mirror.
Of course, there's a lot of mixed feelings there. I didn't anticipate leaving Congress, certainly didn't anticipate leaving so quickly in the middle of the term. And so there's some, there's some tender feelings as I say goodbye to my colleagues and goodbye to the work and the great honor to represent Utah, to represent the 2nd District. And I mean, it truly is just the honor of a lifetime to have had this experience. And I've developed so much love and appreciation and respect for so many people.
And he also told Boyd what he sees as a key part of his legacy in Congress.
People ask me often, well, did you do anything while you're back there? Is there anything you're proud of? And I mean, there are a number of things, but I think one of the things I'm most proud of is what you said, Boyd, of the 988 number. And I'll give you just one very quick example. And this has happened actually to me a number of times now, where I was walking down the sidewalk, a woman grabs me and she says, my 13-year-old daughter is alive today because she called 988 and she got help.
This was one of the things that was so shockingly easy to pass, but it took forever to pass it. Everyone was on board with 988, but Congressman Stewart had to push for years and years and years to get through all the hurdles and the hiccups of trying to get a suicide awareness prevention number, an easy 988 number. It seemed like it was going to be a slam dunk, easy walkthrough, but he had to battle for years to get this done.
I'm just looking this up online, 988 Lifeline, and it is that suicide and crisis lifeline. He spearheaded it. He stuck with it. He fought through the red tape, and it's up and running. It's been up and running for a while. It's been fairly smooth. I think there was a few concerns in the beginning about who would be answering the call. For example, if somebody called from Utah, would they get a Utah crisis counselor on the line? But good for him. Good for him. This could potentially save so many lives. We'll never probably understand the true value of something of this. But when you leave Congress, what an amazing legacy to leave behind is that you left behind hope for people who felt hopeless.
Well, I will never forget, somebody called me and said, I've got a family member that is in crisis. I don't know what to do. What do I do?
Oh, my goodness.
And I said, you've got to call the crisis, the suicide hotline. But at the time, it wasn't 988. And I am grabbing my phone and I'm trying to Google as this person is fully in panic mode. And I'm trying to find the crisis hotline for suicide. And it was clumsy. I was nervous.
It's probably like a 1-800 number.
Exactly what it was. Exactly what it was. And I was trying to think, is there a local or is there a national number? What is it?
My goodness.
It was, and especially in a high-pressure, scary situation, the adrenaline is pumping. I was so relieved when this finally passed, and it would have been amazing to just say, call 988.
I didn't. That's incredible insight, Dave. How easy that has made it for others who get contacted.
What do
by
I do? What do I do?
You can just say 988. Well, that will definitely be that will be his lasting legacy. Congressman Stewart also talked to Boyd about his assessment of where the country is at right now. I want to listen to this one.
We have enormous challenges. We have challenges, I would argue, that we haven't seen in our country since the 1850s. And from a national security perspective, we haven't seen since the late 1930s. And we would be naive and ignorant not to recognize that. And I do recognize that. Our society is holding on, I think, from a very frayed rope. But we can't give up hope.
So we've heard some of this rhetoric before, that we're in a crisis moment. Okay, we don't want to give up hope. Great. How? How do we do that? And I think that's, and I'm not just blaming Congressman Stewart here, but what gets us there? Because right now, and this is a great example, as we've been talking about Mitt Romney and his time in the Senate. Here's a person that didn't march to the beat of Washington's drum. He didn't just fall in lockstep. He came in with his own priorities, his own agenda, things he wanted to do, things he ran on. And he was ostracized for it by his party. So as soon as you want to do something a little bit differently, the clique in Washington goes full Mean Girls and ostracizes you. So I want to know what's going on right now, and what does that hope look like if our leaders can't even accept a modicum of dissent
or criticism.
Great.
They couldn't take the criticism that Senator Romney. Now we're on to Senator Romney again, but that Senator Romney honestly spoke from the heart about, whether it was President Trump being the instigator and his concern over President Trump leading and being the instigator in the January 6th insurrection, the text message that he sent, and that we now know is wide open out there on the internet, thanks to the Atlantic's article. Mitch McConnell ghosted him. So you don't even take that seriously. They don't even take that seriously enough. And then we know what happened. That was 4 days before January 6th, and we know what happened on January 6th. And here they had a warning from somebody who not only served as a senator in your own party, as serving as a current senator in your own party, but he was the head of the Olympics here in Utah. Just months after the 9/11 terrorist attacks, we welcomed the world to Salt Lake City, and Romney was the head of the games. Everything was riding on his shoulders when it came to safety for everybody, the athletes, the visitors, moms and dads who brought their kids downtown, the Medals Plaza, the opening ceremonies, the closing ceremonies. It was Mitt Romney, and you didn't even take that seriously. So now you have me fired up again, Dave. You have me fired. We started the conversation talking about Representative Chris Stewart, his final hours back in D.C. as he leaves Washington, D.C. to return home to Utah to care for his wife, and also Senator Mitt Romney, which brings us to the next point. We've lost two people representing Utah. Senator Romney, never really a freshman senator. And Congressman Chris Stewart, who has served 10 years.
Yeah. Senator Romney still has 16 months left.
I know.
He's not done right now. Kind of feels that way, though.
But I mean, he went back with a ton of name recognition, and from my perspective, a lot of respect that was far surpassed that of what a freshman senator would have had. All right, straight ahead, Delta Sky Miles. They've changed things up. You're going to want to stick around for this next.
It's 10:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. A football coach at Harriman is alive after a heart attack on the field, thanks to the quick actions of other coaches.
Taylor was running a drill with our running back group. I saw out of the corner of my eye Taylor stumble and then collapse.
That was youth coach Nate Roth, who says everyone sprang into action. One coach started chest compressions. Head coach Dustin Pierce brought out an AED. Cowan doesn't remember much about all this.
The first thing I remember is just waking up in the hospital with my friends and family nearby telling me that I had chest compressions. They shocked me.
That heart attack hasn't stopped him from getting back on the field this week with his players. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says he'll keep the House in session as long as it takes to get a government funding measure passed. Federal spending authority runs out in 16 days. McCarthy says Republicans will lose the shutdown fight if they don't start passing bills.
The best thing to happen here is that we're able to get our work done and we don't get into that mess.
And McCarthy says he's not afraid of a movement among some conservative Republicans to try to remove him as Speaker. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day now at 321 points so far. The NASDAQ is up 110. And our KSL weather, just getting sunny, but kind of September beautiful. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
Start your days with knowledgeable, friendly voices telling you about the latest news and weather out there.
Hi, this is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
In the business of waking you up each morning from 5 to 9.
On KSL News Radio.
If you own or operate a business, whether it's a local operation or a global corporation, partnering with Bank of America could be your smartest move. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll enjoy exclusive digital tools, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter. Position your business to capitalize on opportunity in a moment's notice. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, N.A. Copyright 2023.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. Oh, thank you. What does it say? Beware. If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
As the weather turns colder, this is when you need to get those new windows. So call Advanced Window Products. They'll replace your single-pane, rickety old windows with stylish, state-of-the-art double-pane windows with precision frames. You pick the style and color. They're custom-made right here in Salt Lake City. This company is so Utah. It's run by two guys who grew up here, Jake Weber and Utes defensive star Nate Orchard, the mayor of Sacktown with 7 NFL seasons under his belt. Great guys. Great company building high-quality windows for 37 years. Unlike other companies, they build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. No middleman. There's Jake, Nate, and their team, and there's you. Saving on the highest quality windows. Right now, before winter, get $2,000 off 10 windows or more, and they offer 60 months, 0% financing. So call Advanced Window Products now. You could have stylish new windows in 8 weeks. 801-850-9100. 801-850-9100 or visit advancedwindowsusa.com.
Imagine how inconvenient your life would be without power. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, and no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have the power when you need it most. Generac generators automatically provide backup after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Schedule a free quote today with Genco Generators, your premier Generac service dealer in Utah. Call 801-295-0872 or online at gencogenerators.net.
At Shields, we know good things happen when preparation meets opportunity, which means during the season, the only element of the hunt we can actually control is the work we put in and the gear we trust. So stop by the Shields sale event September 9th through the 17th and save on brands you can trust, like Sitka, Lucky Duck, Benelli, and select Shields Outfitters gear. Our Shields experts are ready to prepare you for success on your next upland and waterfowl adventure. Shields, earn your moment.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, we're currently accident-free on city streets and major freeways across the Wasatch Front, and for the most part, everyone is traveling at speed. You may run into a few brake lights from time to time when you go through construction zones, like the I-215 eastbound and I-80 near the mouth of Parley's Canyon. Other than that, things look good right now. BYU's finest student dance ensembles present World of Dance, featuring the Ballroom Dance Company, Contemporary Dance Theater, International Folk Dance, Living Legends, Theater Ballet, and Young Ambassadors. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, sunny skies through the weekend. with highs in the low to mid 80s. Clouds move in next week with a chance of showers. And right now, we're at 68 degrees. It's sunny. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Right on the money. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
I must say, I don't remember the last time I've studied a story this hard through this many resources to see if I could boil it down for our listeners, Dave. And I still don't understand what Delta is doing with its Sky Miles. But
I think I have it.
You think you've got it?
Okay, I'm with you.
They announced a change. It's really complex. So if you have Sky Miles, you're going to want to really dig into it through the Delta app and through reading a lot of stories yourself. But there are some changes I do understand. What do you know about it?
Okay. We're going to do this together. We're going to try to figure this one out together.
Hold hands.
No. Okay, so Delta Sky Miles has been super picky about giving you Sky Miles only for the miles that you fly. Like they truly tied it to travel.
Okay.
Most other rewards program was just if you spend money on our credit card, then we're going to load you up with a bunch of miles. Delta was straight up the miles you fly, that's what goes to your account. So what Delta is now changing is they're saying, oh, well, if you spend money on travel in general, so they've expanded it a little bit more so you can get Delta Sky Miles in more than just travel ways or at least flight ways.
Okay, that's not true. I'm sorry.
I just read it on the very article you sent me.
For exactly, this is why this is so confusing. But for probably 20 years now, I have had an American Express that is tied to my Delta Sky Miles. So I get credit for when I spend money on my American Express. So let's say I go into my I use my American Express to buy all of my Amazon delivery, products with my Amex, which is true. It's tied to my Amazon account. There you go, hackers. Have at it. And I get points for that, which for Sky Miles for travel. And I see that every single month on my statement, Dave. I see that American Express, the money I've spent converts to points and it goes to my Delta Sky Miles. I see it dumped in on my statement. And I know that's the case because I look at my statement regularly and Delta sends me a reminder that my Sky Miles statement is now ready to view, and I see how few points I've amassed and how much the price of a ticket is. But what I do know in reading several travel blogs and mainstream news stories about it is that one of the things that's going to be changed is they're going to restrict how often certain members, depending on what your status is, have access to their Sky Clubs. So you won't have as much wide open access as you've had in the past. And it sounds like Delta has been trying to cut back on the Sky Club access, which is, I guess, a place you go and you get food or you get a drink as you're waiting to fly. So, for example, if you have an American Express Platinum, you'll only be able to get into the Sky Clubs 6 times a year. But that change won't go into effect until 2025. Here's the deal. I've never been into the Sky Club, and I have this American Express card. I've never even knew I had access. The main reason I got the American Express card was so I could amass Sky Mile points while spending money on everyday things that you buy. You pay off the American Express every single month, so it keeps me honest there with how much I have my credit card. But I also got it because, pro tip, you get like 1 free bag or 2 free bags. I don't remember. I hardly ever travel with a bag anymore because my family's all grown and moved out of the house. So I travel with a backpack. So you get a free bag if you have this American Express. Now, there's a fee every year with it, but I've kind of weighed, okay, is the fee worth it? Blah, blah, blah. But that's why I got it, and that's why I've kept it. So there's these changes that are going to be made that Dave and I we would need hours of your time and our time to try to figure all of them out. But.
Okay, part of what I was conflating, you're right. Sky Miles is one thing. Sky Miles and status, I think, are different.
You're right.
And your status is tied closely to your actual travel, not just the money you spend to build up Sky Miles. So if you want to have that gold, platinum, Onyx, There's so many different layers. Like
I don't know.
manganese. I don't know how many layers they have.
Okay, this brings us to the
Cobalt.
I think this brings us to the better conversation, which is our points, our credit card points, or points that you amass through apps that you use. Are they worth it? So I just got signed up because I went to a restaurant, and when I bought a couple of meals for my daughter and I, they signed me up with my phone number for points, and now I get frequent statements and reminders about how few points I have. And then I also have points tied to my Visa card. And you can go into the bank or the credit union's app, and you can see how many points you need to buy whatever. They have like gift cards available, $25 gift cards to, I don't know, Olive Garden or Red Robin, or you can buy like a boombox or something like that. And then
Boombox.
I had like,
all right, 1980s.
I was so excited because I had like a couple thousand points because I'd made a couple of big purchases. And it was like, oh my goodness! It would get me like the cord, the plug to the boombox. So
Stop calling it a boombox.
I just converted it. I just converted the points on my Visa to cash, and they dumped like $30 or something like that into my savings account. But it just makes me wonder: am I focusing too much on points? Do they matter? What's been your experience?
Okay, points. The only points I would ever deal with, ever again, is cash back. It's the only thing that matters is cash back. The point, loyalty, all of that is so confusing. It is terrible. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
I have a movie, whatever, a little movie program. I get a ticket every month.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so I pay $10. I get a movie ticket. I can use it. Okay, there's a status, and I am approaching platinum status. I just have to buy 11 more movie tickets before the end of the year. This is going to get me to the total of something around 30 or 40 movie tickets in the year to get platinum status.
Okay, so every time you buy a movie ticket, you buy it through this
site. App. Yep.
Okay, and then you build points.
Yep.
And now you're at turquoise status, you said?
Yeah, I'm in hot pink status, and I am 11 tickets away from platinum status. Are you ready to hear what happens if I spend an additional $110 in movie tickets? On top of the $400 I've already spent, this is what I get out of my status, my platinum status. They're like, well, if you spend $500 on movie tickets and get platinum status, we will give you not one, but 2 free movie tickets. Platinum status, 2 free movie tickets. What a bunch of monsters.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Did you know Utah has just one all-news station in the morning?
It's this one. Weekday mornings between 5 and 9.
Start your days with us. We're Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Your morning companions for news.
Hey, folks, let me tell you, Master Electrical they've done a thing I didn't think companies could do, which is give you a bid and then stick to the bid.
Dave, you love this upfront pricing guarantee. The same way I love this upfront pricing guarantee that Master Electrical promises when they show up at your house and they give you a bid for those recessed lights that you so desperately need in your kitchen right now, or that ceiling fan you need in your bedroom. That is the price that you're going to pay.
You've never been to my house and you hit it right on the head.
That's the price you're going to pay.
Absolutely right.
It doesn't matter if you've got a problem up there in the attic and it takes them 6 hours longer to put the ceiling fan in. Master Electrical is going to honor that price that they gave you when they came through the door for the first time.
Yeah, they call it their upfront pricing guarantee. They serve everywhere from Logan to Santaquin, and they also are always open. So you got emergencies, boom, they'll take care of you.
801-543-2222. I love this phone number. 801-543-2222. So easy to remember.
Or check them out online. Google, or you can go to masterelectrical.com.
Are you or someone you take care of as their caregiver living with Alzheimer's disease? This study just might be for you. Consider participating in Athira's clinical trial exploring a novel repair and regenerative approach to Alzheimer's disease. Pantheon Clinical Research in Salt Lake City is looking for people with mild to moderate dementia, 55 to 85 years old. A consistent caregiver or support person is necessary for the conduct of this study. This study is a late-stage clinical study of an investigational drug for the treatment of mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. Pantheon Clinical Research has over 30 years' experience with clinical trials. They conduct their business with professionalism, efficiency, and integrity. Contact Pantheon Clinical Research in Salt Lake City today. Again, call Pantheon Clinical Research today at 385-281-0550. That's 385-281-0550. Or go to pantheonclinical.com. That's pantheonclinical.com.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
The UACPA supports certified professional accountants in Utah through ongoing professional education and leadership development for an ever-changing financial world. Find a CPA at uacpa.org.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a high school football coach back on the field after suffering a heart attack. He was saved by quick action from other coaches who knew what to do. Second, Utah's Commissioner of Higher Education resigned suddenly yesterday. And third, the Speaker of the House says he'll keep representatives in session as long as it takes to get a government funding bill passed before the federal fiscal year ends in a couple of weeks. Right now, 68 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Right on the money. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Let's talk about that story that you caught this morning in the Wall Street Journal, Dave. With mortgages at a 22-year high, it makes the current interest rate 7%. I think I saw it a couple days ago. It was over 7%.
Yeah.
A lot more painful than it was at 3% a few years ago, right? So what if you could get back to that 3% mortgage today? Sounded good to be true?
Wait and tell me why. Yeah, I think, okay, you sound a little QVC. You know,
yeah, I do.
I can get you into a 3% home mortgage. I remember talking to Jeff Stout, who's a mortgage lender. We're going to talk to, bring him on here in a second. He said, if you had a $400,000 mortgage a couple of years ago with a 3% mortgage rate, you're paying $1,700 a month. Now at 7%, that has skyrocketed to $2,600 a month. To give you an idea of, it is a night and day difference between a 3% mortgage rate and a 7%. So if you're saying I can get a 3% loan or get into a 3% loan, that is a total game changer for me.
You just have to assume somebody else's mortgage. Somebody who locked in at a 3% years ago, maybe they even have a slightly under 3% mortgage rate, and you have to go knock on their door and you say, look, I know you bought this home. County records show you bought this home years ago, and you probably have a very low interest rate, and I want to move you out and assume your mortgage. Let's make a deal.
Let me give you an idea. When you say a 3% mortgage rate, there are 13 million Americans that are under 3%, that have a mortgage rate under 3%, somewhere between 2 and 3%. 13 million homes out there are just basking in their 2% glory.
Jeff Stout, Fink and McGregor, you're our mortgage expert. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
You good? Well, I think Dave's ready to start knocking down some doors this weekend to see if he can get. So how does this work? And is it too good to be true?
Well, it is possible to assume mortgages, and there are a few things that people need to know. First of all, it's almost always any mortgage that can be assumed is going to be one of the government loans, FHA, VA, USDA. And they all have a little bit different rules about it. But conventional loans generally cannot be assumed unless it's a rare situation, sometimes from a divorce or death or something like that, but certainly not on a sale.
Okay.
So you're talking FHA, VA, and USDA. And to assume a mortgage under one of those entities, you have to still qualify for the mortgage, first of all. So they're going to want credit, income docs, all that sort of stuff to be able to do that. Second of all, when you're assuming that mortgage, you're assuming the amount of that mortgage, and you got to figure out how to come up with a difference. Because if somebody owes $200,000 on a mortgage and you're paying $500,000 for a house, well, you got to come up with the other $300,000. So, I mean, that's generally the catch for most people that don't have a huge chunk of cash to walk in there with.
And if you did take out another mortgage, another home mortgage, for that, say, $300,000 difference to make up the difference, you'd be paying that 7% that everyone else is paying.
No, because the new mortgage that you'd be taking out would be a second mortgage. And those rates are substantially higher.
Oh, wow.
Second part is to do a purchase second mortgage, you're going to generally be capped at 80%. So you still got to come up with 20% down, and then you're going to pay, a much higher rate on the second, maybe 9 or even in the double digits on the second mortgage. So, it's not always as easy to make the numbers work as it sounds like, because if you're paying 9 or 10% on a second mortgage of $300,000 and 3% on a first mortgage of $200,000, effectively you're back up to that 7% range anyway. And so, I mean, the trick on these really is making the numbers work and having that ability. So what people would want to look for is somebody that maybe doesn't have as much equity in their home, so that initial down payment isn't such a big nut to crack.
This is a horrible idea. Jeff, I love this conversation because at first when Dave came in and pitched it, he made it sound like it was like, we're going to Disneyland today, Deb. We're going to figure out how we can assume 3% mortgages. But this has this like financial pitfalls written all over, at least for me as a buyer. But what if you're the seller and Dave Noriega knocks on your door and says, like, look, I know you have a 2.5% mortgage. I want to assume the mortgage on your home. I mean, talk about it from the seller's perspective.
If you're a seller and you have a mortgage at 2.5% and somebody wants to buy your home and take that over, well, what's your next move?
Okay, Jeff, I've got a plan here. You guys are just over here throwing buckets of ice cold water on my burning hot fire of excitement.
Any new mortgage you're going to go get is going to be at 7+%.
All right, Jeffrey.
Exactly.
Here we go. This is my plan. 3 years ago, somebody has a 2% interest rate they just bought a house, $500,000. Okay. I go in there. I know they got a 2% interest rate. I say, listen, I want to buy it for $600,000. I sell my home. I give that $100,000 that I made on my home, and then I take over their remaining whatever. Doesn't that give me a 2.5% or 3%? It feels like that's a home run for me.
Well, as I mentioned before, I mean, as long as the initial cash to buy them out is available and something that you can do, then that works. I'm just suggesting for most people that's probably not the case.
That's true. And part of the problem is when you try to buy somebody's home that has a 2.5% or 3% mortgage rate, they're going to have to go out and get a home at 7%. So they're not going to be very willing, right, to let go of that very good mortgage rate.
Yeah, that's the tough part about the knocking on door strategy. But, here's another strategy that might be more effective is check homes that are already listed for sale, and what kind of mortgage do they have on it? And ask those people, because then you're not trying to find some unicorn that would, I'll sell my house and then, get into a worse situation. So,
but it's got to be a government loan, an FHA, a USDA, or a VA loan.
And a USDA loan is like you're going to go to Tooele or something like that to get one of those loans,
correct.
right? You're going to go on the outskirts. You're not going to find a USDA loan probably in downtown Salt Lake, right, Jeff?
You won't find any in Salt Lake or Davis County.
Those are.
I mean, you can go out to Saratoga Springs or somewhere out there, or maybe south of Spanish Fork, or up in Box Elder County, Morgan County, that sort of thing. And for the VA loans, it should be pointed out here that you do not have to be a veteran to assume a VA loan.
That's a great point.
Oh,
that's a great point.
But the person who has the VA loan, the veteran, their benefits to buy another place are either gone or greatly diminished as far as the VA benefit if their loan is assumed, because then their benefit is tied up, basically.
Jeff Stout, thank you for joining us. You poured a little bit of cold water on me, a little bit. There's still a little hope, but that was some great information. Jeff Stout's with Fink and McGregor, mortgage brokers. So thanks, Jeff.
Sounds like it would work out really well for investors, Dave. Like an investor is coming in to assume a mortgage. And we can continue the conversation next week. We've got so much more to talk about with the housing market. But next, we're going to go live on Facebook for this conversation. Las Vegas has been under a cyber attack now for 4 days. So there's no better time than to freeze your credit in case the hackers got your personal information. And I'm going to tell you how next.
KSL Salt Lake City. Listen at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Applications now open for the top job in Utah's system of higher education. Commissioner Dave Wolstenhume stepped down yesterday. He held that job for 4 years, worked closely with Utah's 8 university and college presidents during a time of upheaval. Board Chair Amanda Covington says he stepped down to pursue other professional opportunities. Over a dozen dogs are on the list to be euthanized if they're not adopted at the Weber County Animal Shelter. They have 111 dogs with only 90 kennels. Adoption specialist Lisa Weiss says they have no choice.
We are being forced to make the decision to euthanize just because we absolutely have no kennel space whatsoever.
Weiss says one of the reasons the shelter has exceeded their limit is people abandoning their animals. The shelter says the dogs on the list to be euthanized are free for adoption until September 26th. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The judge overseeing the election interference case in Georgia has severed the trials between 2 of the defendants and the other 17. Judge Scott McAfee didn't rule out severing the trials for others down the road. ABC's John Santucci says it's a win for the defense.
We're going to have a show this fall, and then we're going to have a repeat performance next spring, which makes it incredibly difficult for prosecutors. A great win for Donald Trump and others that did not want to be part of this speedy trial case. Just texting with some of the attorneys involved in the other defendants, celebrating.
The trials for Sidney Powell and Kenneth Chesbrough are set to start October 23rd. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day, 342 points right now, and the NASDAQ is up 124. Look for sunshine through the weekend. That's KSL weather forecast is next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
Early mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
You know, for the last couple of weeks, I just kind of keep chuckling when I think about my SOTA weight loss journey. SOTA's SOTA, state-of-the-art weight loss, because it is. And the reason I've been chuckling is because often when you hear about a program, you start thinking, you know, does it work? Does it work? I can honestly say no one's ever asked me if SOTA weight loss works. Why? Because the results don't lie. I've lost 37 pounds. People can see it. They see the energy. They see what I'm able to do. And they don't want to know, does it work? They want to know, how does it work? And it works because you have your own nutritionist. You have one-on-one consultations. You get to the root cause. It's a really all points of the compass approach to emotional eating, your habits, getting the right nutrition to your body at the right time. And it's all so simple. And it works. The results don't lie. So you don't have to ask, does SOTA work? It works. The results don't lie. I'll tell you how it works. It works because it's an extraordinary group and it's impacting people all around the country. As I always say, when it comes to your SOTA weight loss journey, no time to lose, only time to win. I've been doing this for over 20 months now. Start winning with SOTA Weight Loss, SOTAweightloss.com.
Remember that first paycheck when you started working all those years ago? You looked at the net amount and thought, whoa, what happened here? Ah, the joy of taxes. It could be this way with your retirement accounts. You know how much you've saved, but if you haven't planned for Uncle Sam, you could come up short in retirement. With tax laws constantly changing, there's a lot you need to know to make sure you're not paying more than your fair share. Mike Stevens and the team at Capital Wealth Advisors can help you create a plan that shows you how taxes could affect you now and in the future. Set up your tax strategy session with Mike Stevens and Capital Wealth Advisors now. Call 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. Make sure you know how these changes could affect you so you can avoid some of those whoa moments in retirement. Call 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Attorney Joe Cordell. Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to three key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Salt Lake City area attorneys. 910 West Legacy Center Way, Suite 120, Midvale, Utah, 84047. CordellCordell.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
We have a stalled vehicle eastbound on the 21st South Freeway at 7200 West, and we are starting to see a little bit of backup there. Also, a KSL traffic trooper reporting a crash at Redwood Road and 90th South. Is your car due for some extra love? Burt Brothers is here for your vehicle's routine maintenance, all done by our ASC certified technicians. Burt Brothers, affordable, complete auto care done better. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, sunny skies through the weekend with highs in the low to mid 80s. Clouds move in next week with a chance of showers. And right now, we're at 72 degrees under sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, by now, a lot of us have seen information, news articles, social media posts about this major cyber hack and attack in Vegas. But it's not just Las Vegas, the MGM Grand. Like you've heard, it's the MGM hack or the MGM cyber attack. MGM owns numerous hotels, thousands of hotel rooms in Vegas and beyond. But you've got the Bellagio, you've got the Cosmopolitan, the Aria, the New York, which is, I'm a frequent flyer at the New York in Las Vegas. Park MGM, Excalibur. Used to take the kids there a lot when they were little because they have that little game thing downstairs. The Luxor, Mandalay Bay, the Delano. If you've been a customer there, if you're there now, you might be having troubles getting and accessing your room with your key card. But if you've been a customer there before, you may be wondering, okay, what can I do if these cyber hackers get my personal information from this hack?
It's Ocean's 11, but in the cyber world, where they've targeted Las Vegas and so much money, so many credit cards. It is a tourist destination. People are coming from all over the world. If you're a hacker and you're trying to get a little bit of something from everywhere and everyone, that's the perfect spot.
Fortune magazine reporting that this is a ransom hack. So it's a hack for ransom. What they've done is these hackers have gone in, they've embedded ransomware into the hotel computers, into the computer system, and they've basically frozen access. Maybe they've even encrypted critical information from. They do this all over the place. I know we've seen it here in Utah, and they do it wherever they can infiltrate a system. They then lock it down, and then they demand a ransom to release it. A lot of times it's a guessing game as to whether if you pay the ransom, they'll actually release the information. And Fortune's reporting that it's not only the MGM, but also Caesars was also hacked. And it's all done by the same group. It can feel hopeless when we find out, oh my goodness, hackers might have my personal information. I mean, how often, Dave, have you gone to Vegas and given, everything but your social security number to reserve a room?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's standard. You give your name, your birthday, your credit card numbers. Yeah, lots of information.
You seem to never be concerned about hackers selling your identity, your personally identifiable information on the dark web, and then turning around and selling it to identity thieves who then steal, your information or take your information and open up a plethora of credit cards and payday loans and even rent televisions in your name.
Concerned, unconcerned, maybe overwhelmed. It feels too much to address. I've got 6 people in my family. It's hard enough to keep track of my own bank account, let alone everybody's possible information that could have gotten out. It feels overwhelming to me.
By the way, if you are sitting next to your computer at work and you're listening to us on your favorite streaming device or perhaps on our free KSL News Radio app, you can tune into Facebook. We're live right now broadcasting on KSL News Radio's Facebook page because I want to talk some sense into my co-host, Dave Noriega. So I want you to see it happen here live and in person. So here's the deal, Dave. It feels overwhelming now, but nice to meet you. My name is Debbie Dujanovic, and I am the victim of identity theft. And it took me 3 months to unravel the mess. And I don't even think you knew what was going on behind the scenes in my personal life, but I would leave the studio every day, leave the newsroom, drive home, and I would work for hours on the phone trying to figure out where the identity thieves had tried to open up accounts, had used my personal information, and I was putting out fires and trying to get myself out of this major, major mess. So a few minutes of your time now taking a few simple steps that are free, by the way, this won't cost you a dime. 45 minutes of your time will save you 45 days, 4 to 5 years of heartburn. It was months and months that I wasn't worried that my information was still being used to open up other credit cards. But I took one important step, and it's a step that I was upset at myself for not taking before this happened, because it would have saved me a lot of heartburn. Can I walk you through it?
Yep.
It's called freezing your credit. So what you need to do, you need to take notes, first of all. You need to freeze your credit.
Podcast it later.
Yeah, or podcast it later. And each person in your home who is like of an age where they'd have credit needs to do this to their own name. So you need to go to TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Do you know what those are? Those are the three
credit bureaus, right?
Credit bureaus, right, where they compile all of your information, and they have it there in case, like, you go and open a credit card, for example. The retailer or the bank will run your credit to make sure you don't have a bunch of like unpaid credit cards, and they'll just make sure you're credit worthy. So you're going to go into each one. You're going to create an account, first of all. And again, it's free. $3.99. It's not even in the 99 cents. It's totally free. You're going to create an account at each one of those credit bureaus. You cannot cut corners on this, Dave. You've got to do it at each one of those 3 credit bureaus. And no, they don't all sync together. No, you got to do it at each one of those 3. This has been my experience. And then you go in, and there you follow the prompts. It's very simple to do. You just freeze your credit. In some cases, in one case, there was like a snowflake. So I knew, that's what you click on, and that you then walks you through the steps to freeze your credit.
What does that do?
What it does is, if somebody gets your personally identifiable information, they get all the things they need, and in some cases, they don't need a social security number. They just need very little, just very scant details about you to open up a credit card. When the retailer runs your credit, like the fake Dave Noriega, they run it through the system, they should get a big, it's frozen. They don't have access to the information, and therefore they turn around and they won't issue that person a payday loan or a credit card in your name. In my case, there were a number of payday loans issued in my name. There was also attempts to, for example, like rent a television, I think, or rent a refrigerator in my name. Can you imagine? It's like somebody just like renting. They would never have returned it.
Yeah.
Right? They would have never have paid the monthly rental fee. I would have just owned like 50 big screen or been renting 50 big screen televisions all across the country. And they probably would have just stolen them and resold them in my name, and I would have been held responsible for those.
Yeah.
But a lot of people wonder, like, what do I do if I need to go out and buy a car this weekend and my credit's frozen and I'm the actual one that's trying to take off the loan?
Right.
You just need to go in and unfreeze it. It takes a few minutes to do that, but you got to remember to undo it, because I've gotten notifications before like, hey, we can't.
Someone tried to open up an account or
me,
tried to get a loan.
Yeah, and I just forgot to unfreeze it. But then you have to make sure, and some of these, I think all of the credit unions will allow you to sort of, set a date when you want it to refreeze. But I never unfreeze it for more than like 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
I just do it for that particular, loan I'm trying to open up. Now, a lot of folks, and I'm going to squeeze this in, because a lot of folks wonder, like, well, what about my current credit card that I'm using? I've already established it. I have it in my wallet today, but I'm freezing my credit over here. That won't impact it. That won't impact it at all. You can still use your credit card. However, I think with all of these hacks that have been going on, just in case one of the hackers has sold, or is using your credit card information to make purchases, we need to be paying very careful attention to our credit card statements as well, right? Just to make sure there's not a weird charge on there. And if there is, you need to report it right away to your credit card company. Does that all make...
It's pretty easy.
It's
I
super
liked
easy,
it pretty
Dave.
easy. You said at what age?
I would say I'd start looking at it maybe at the... Now, this is just my guess. I would say anytime your child is like eligible for credit, they get a job, it would say like maybe 16 years old. However, I have heard that you can freeze your credit for kids that are younger. I don't have younger kids, so I haven't personally looked into that. Yeah.
Okay.
But definitely if your child is like credit eligible, like if they walk into a store in the mall and they offer them a credit card and they sign up for it, which my 16-year-old did one time. Yeah, I was not happy about that. We closed it the same day. But follow that. We'll podcast this later. Dave brought up a great point. You can catch this all on your favorite podcast platform, or you can go back if you missed it, caught the end of it. You can go back and watch this on KSL News Radio's Facebook page.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hi, it's Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Why should you start your day with us?
We have decades of news experience between us.
And we take your trust seriously.
Come here for news tomorrow, 5 to 9.
On KSL.
It's about to get real for the BYU Cougars.
Get to the end zone, touchdown!
This Saturday, the Cougs take on Arkansas from the powerhouse SEC Conference. Our special extended pregame coverage starts at noon with kickoff at 5:30 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio.
I don't know how strong you are, but I can tell you I have memories when I was a kid. My mom, every time she'd go shopping, she'd say, all right, Dave, I need you to grab the salt. And it was these huge bags of rock salt, about 50 pounds. I'd grab those, throw them on my shoulder, and then take them into the house, and I would empty them into our water softener. And I remember doing that just about every time my mom went shopping because we just burned through so much salt in our water softener. Well, when I had Connecticut of Utah come out to my house and start talking to me about soft water, I told them that story. I'm like, man, I remember carrying crazy amounts of salt. And they said, the way our Connecticut water softener is designed, it is so efficient. It uses 2/3 the salt of everybody else. It's highly efficient. And I have found that to be absolutely true. I only have to throw some salt in the bin every couple of months. It's very, very efficient. And, you know, I've got 4 or 5 people in my home at all times. So we go through a lot of salt water, or soft water, I should say, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So if you're interested in getting soft water into your house, a well-designed, efficient water softener is from Connecticut. 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. Or you can check them out online at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
The Utah RV Super Show, the premier RV event of the year, is back at Mountain America Expo, Thursday, September 14th through Sunday, September 17th. Come see the new 2024 models and special closeout pricing on all 2023 models. Bring a can of food for the Utah Food Bank and get $1 off per can, up to half off adult admission. Unplug from distractions and plug into your family at the Utah RV Super Show. Discount passes at UtahRVSupershow.com.
Introducing Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. We're bringing all of Utah's favorite HVAC, plumbing, and electrical brands under one roof. Call the pros at Yes and take $50 off any heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical system repair over $200. Get fast relief and $50 off any repair from Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. The same great people providing the same great service that Utah has counted on for more than 45 years. Visit theyesmancan.com to schedule your appointment.
Transform your outdated kitchen with half-price granite for $2,500. Granite, quartz, cabinets, and flooring. Visit halfpricegranite.com. affordable luxury.
Hey guys, do you know what makes Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City different? You. Every Revive treatment and medication is personalized just for you. Revive has the experts that guys go to when their current treatment isn't working. They have a complicated medical condition, or they're just not happy with their daily performance. Since 2011, they've helped thousands of local men suffering with the symptoms of low T and ED. Their goal is simple, to get to the bottom of your issues and fix them. Your best performance requires more than generic ED medications or a low-dose testosterone booster at a low-ball price like you find online. Revive medications are custom compounded, affordable, and guaranteed to resolve your issues. Stop dealing with the symptoms of low T or ED. Book your T-check and exam today. Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit us at revivemenshealth.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, Utah's Commissioner of Higher Education resigned yesterday. David Wolstenholme had been in that job for the last 4 years. Second, 2 people died overnight in a crash in San Juan County. And third, a judge in New Mexico has suspended the governor's order banning the carrying of guns in Albuquerque. Right now, 72 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
U.S. Senator Mitt Romney making the announcement he will not seek re-election.
At the end of another term, I'd be in my mid-80s. Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
But what does that new generation of leaders look like? From Senator Romney's point of view, I wonder if he's thinking that the new generation is going to be more moderate, like he is, or if it's going to be somebody that is very, very conservative, a hard conservative. I'm not sure what that looks like here in Utah because the former governor won by a landslide when he ran here in Utah. His popularity, we've seen some recent polling that said that the majority of Utahns would still vote for him, even though he seems to have a blood feud with Donald Trump. Nevertheless, there is an indication that maybe he wouldn't win with as big a margin as he did back in 2018, but that he probably still would.
Riverton Mayor Trent Staggs on the line with us. You've already been on the campaign trail for Senator Romney's seat. What is your reaction to his decision not to run and seek a second term? I mean, he'll be in office until January 2025.
Well, I think he's right. I mean, it's admirable of him to say that we need to make way for the next generation, basically pass the torch on to other folks. And I'm not surprised. I've been campaigning, as you pointed out, for the last 3.5 months, and traveled the state. And the thing I've been hearing over and over again is that there was a lot of disappointment with Mitt Romney, with not just his voting record. I've called that out repeatedly on my website and just in campaign stops about his commitments to a balanced budget and spending and ending illegal immigration and appointing conservative justices. But it's also the representation and his unwillingness to attend GOP conventions and really speak with other local elected officials. And that's what I'm hearing from them. That's why we've garnered the support of so many local mayors, city council members, county commissioners, and also nationally, conservatives like Mark Levin and Charlie Kirk, and Carrie Lake is coming out here on Monday to do an event for us. So we have really had the conservative movement coalesce around us.
Why would you have Carrie Lake from Arizona?
Well, look, Carrie is a very solid conservative, a Republican. We reached out and spoke to one another the other week and offered the opportunity to come out and lend her support and welcome that opportunity. But again, locally, we've got scores of elected officials that are supporting our campaign, and it's all about small government. That is what I'm hearing. I've got a record of doing that for 10 years in elected office as in my community in Riverton, of being a fiscal conservative, cutting taxes, low fees, and they want to see not just the fiscal conservative, but somebody who has had the backbone and willingness to stand up, as I've done with respect to mask mandates and vaccine mandates and anti-ESG resolutions, supporting life, and also speaking out about inappropriate materials in schools. People know that they're going to get that from me, that I will stand up against the establishment. I've got the courage to do that. I have the courage to step out and run against an incumbent like Mitt Romney, and folks want that. They want that type of boldness in D.C. We need it now more than ever.
And now he has decided not to run. A little bit of a bombshell to realize everyone that you're bringing in to help you campaign, but Kari Lake certainly jumps to the top of the list. One of the things that Kari Lake is known for is obviously being a very ardent supporter of Donald Trump, but also about Donald Trump's election fraud claims, and that's something that she has not backed off, even after she lost the governorship in Arizona, or as she was campaigning. Is that something that you agree with her on?
Look, I'm focused on my campaign about smaller government, safer families, and stronger economy. And that's what I've been talking about repeatedly for the last three and a half months. Smaller government is the number one issue. People are tired of the spending. I mean, for 10 years running my community, I've had to balance my budget. The federal government seems to think they're exempt from that. And we now have $33 trillion in debt. And as someone who has a 13-year-old son and an 11-year-old daughter, it is the height of immorality, in my view, to place that burden on them and on successive generations. We have to get back there, put our house in order, and get the size, scope, and burden of the federal government on the average everyday Utahn. We have to greatly minimize that. That's what I've done as a mayor, and that's what I'll continue to do as U.S. Senator.
Riverton Mayor Trent Staggs, thank you so much for joining us today on the show as you continue to campaign for Senator Mitt Romney's seat. Romney, of course, announcing that he will not seek a second term in the U.S. Senate. We've got breaking news. It just popped up here. We're going to breaking news, actually, right now, not traffic and weather. Stand by for breaking news. We've got an indictment that has just been announced. This is according to ABC News. Hunter Biden has just been indicted by the special counsel on a felony gun charge. Of course, Hunter is President Biden's Joe Biden's son. He's been indicted by the special counsel on a felony gun charges, actually, it says. The charge has to deal with that plea agreement that fell apart just a few months ago, and then they went back to the drawing board. It sounds like the prosecutor's office went back to the drawing board and has now filed a felony charge or charges against the president's son.
You'll remember when Hunter Biden met before the judge, he pleaded not guilty to this, and the prosecutor had to go back, and he's decided to refile this charge, specifically a felony gun charge. And what this had to do, to remind folks that may not remember, was Hunter Biden purchased a gun. He had to fill out an official government document, and one of the questions was, are you currently taking drugs? And he said no to that. He obviously, or at least everyone knew that he was taking drugs at that time, so that is lying on the official government form, and there are harsh penalties. It is a felony, and this is what he's being charged with federally.
So the ABC News report at the top says special counsel signals indictment coming against Hunter Biden, and then the headline says Hunter Biden indicted by special counsel on felony gun charges. We're going to sort through this and get you more information in just a few minutes.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dale Spalding. KSL's top story this hour, breaking news. A 14-year-old is in critical condition after he was hit on his bike this morning in Heber. Police say the boy was riding his bike at the intersection of 500 East and 1200 South at 8 a.m. when a work van crashed into him. They say the teen was in a school crosswalk that was flashing at the time of the accident. He was taken to Utah Valley Hospital and is in critical but stable condition. Police are still looking for the suspect they say fled a traffic stop near Fashion Place Mall. KSL News Radio's Adam Small reports from the scene.
Murray police pulled this man over last night. They say he was driving a car with a stolen license plate here near Fashion Place Mall. But when officers tried to bring him into custody, they say he took off, hitting a police car as well as another parked car on the way out of the parking lot. Now, sometime during all this, it's not entirely clear yet. Police say one officer fired at the suspect, and they aren't 100% sure if he was hurt.
We have pictures of the car, license plate, and the suspect on our website. Police are asking anyone with information to give them a call. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A federal judge has blocked part of the controversial public health order in New Mexico. ABC's Jim Ryan says the governor had suspended the right to carry guns in public in the state's largest metro area.
Around 500 people die by gun violence each year in New Mexico, many of them children.
It is time to focus on the children and families of New Mexico.
Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham imposed a 30-day ban on the open carrying of guns in and around Albuquerque.
I, frankly, have the courage to take the stand to make everyone in our community safer.
Gun rights groups and even some of the governor's fellow Democrats called the move unconstitutional. Now a federal judge has agreed, blocking the moratorium. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 336 points and the NASDAQ is up 129. Coming up, bright and sunny as the weekend begins. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
What do you need to hear in the morning to feel ready for the day?
Important news that happened overnight, the traffic you'll hit on the roads.
You'll be ready for your day with us.
Join Utah's Morning News 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
If you own or operate a business, whether it's a local operation or a global corporation, partnering with Bank of America could be your smartest move. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll enjoy exclusive digital tools, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter. Position your business to capitalize on opportunity in a moment's notice. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, N.A. Copyright 2023.
Les Olson IT now provides building security solutions. Do you need physical access control for your facilities? Are you looking for video surveillance systems accessible in the palm of your hand? Les Olson IT has what you need, and their low-voltage network cabling specialists will install it and make sure it's working the way it should. Learn more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
Does your company offer health insurance to your employees? If so, how do you know if you're getting the best deal on employee benefits? Did you know that a benefit broker makes more money when you spend more? Brokers are not only incentivized to steer you to more expensive insurance plans, but the more quotes they get, the harder they have to work and the less money they make. My name is Keith with Magellan and Linden. We're a different kind of benefits broker that offers a best plan, best price guarantee. We get insurance quotes from every insurance company every year. It forces insurance companies to compete for your business and offer the best deal possible. Here's what you do. Visit shopmyplan.com. We'll get you free quotes with no strings attached. If you like what you see, let's work together, and you'll get the best plan at the best price. If your benefits broker isn't getting quotes from every insurance company every year, you're probably paying too much. So visit shopmyplan.com today to get the best deal on employee health insurance. Go to shopmyplan.com today.
Attention smart homeowners. You don't have to fall for flashy promises and companies that don't even prove their work. At Your Service Pros uses third-party verification software called MeasureQuick to ensure your new HVAC system is installed correctly. This ultimate game changer in the HVAC industry lets you, the homeowner, have proof of how your system was installed. At Your Service Pros utilizes our Bluetooth tools to upload all of your system's information into MeasureQuick. We rely on data-driven insights to properly commission, optimize, and fine-tune your HVAC system for peak performance, improving your family's comfort, lowering your utility bills, and extending the life of your HVAC system. With rebates and tax credits available totaling more than $7,500 on a dual-fuel heating and cooling system, it is now more important than ever that your HVAC system be installed correctly. So call us today at 801-YOUR-PRO. That's 801-YOUR-PRO. Have the peace of mind of saving up to 50% on your new system and knowing it's installed correctly by calling 801-YOUR-PRO.
Get Mr. Mag's Performance Missionary Package. 1 performance suit, 4 and collar stretch shirts, 3 ties, 1 mission belt, and 1 pair of Echo or Johnson & Murphy shoes. Just $595.
Join KSL News Radio's Jeff Kaplan on Thursday from 4 till 8 at the Mill Creek Business Market at Mill Creek Common. Join over 40 local businesses at the Mill Creek Business Market and enjoy fresh cut flowers, haircuts, Thai food, skincare products, henna tattoos, jewelry, dog treats and toys, boba, and more. There'll be
skating, food trucks, and free twisted sugar drinks and cookies for the first 100 attendees. Courtesy of U.S. Bank. It's KSL in your community in Mill Creek with KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
We do have a vehicle fire in Tooele County. It's westbound I-80 about 5 miles east of Skull Valley Road. Also, crews still working on getting that stalled vehicle out of traffic eastbound on the 21st South Freeway 7200 West. An auto pedestrian crash in the Sugar House area on Simpson Avenue. This is between 6th and 7th East at about 2200 South. With over 30-plus specialties and multiple locations across Utah, Revere has you covered for all your health needs. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner for life. Online at reverehealth.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Your KSL weather: sunny skies throughout the weekend with highs in the low to mid 80s. Clouds move in next week with a chance of showers. Right now it's 72, mostly clear skies. At KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Your all-day companion for news.
More on that developing story that we told you about just moments ago as breaking news. The president's son, Hunter Biden, has been indicted on federal gun charges. Not just one charge, but 3 counts. According to NBC News, he was indicted in a Delaware federal court on 3 counts tied to the possession of a gun while he was using narcotics.
Yeah, and what's illegal is when you're filling out the official documents to purchase a gun. It asks you straight up, are you taking drugs? Yes or no. And if you lie on that, then you are criminally liable for that, federally liable, and that's exactly what has happened. Is he's been indicted on gun charges.
He bought a revolver in October of 2018. 2 of the counts say he, allegedly filed that form claiming that he was not using illegal drugs at the time he purchased that revolver in 2018. And then the 3rd count alleges that he possessed a firearm while using a narcotic. Now, remember, this goes back to that plea deal that we covered a couple months ago. He walked into court. We were expecting him to come out of court that day with a plea agreement having been settled on between his defense team and prosecutors. And in a weird twist, within 3 hours of our show, I think we started our show that day at 9 a.m. with coverage of that negotiation that was happening inside a federal courthouse. And by the time we ended the show, the whole thing had fallen apart and both sides walked away and went back to their corners with no deal. And then it became very clear that the special counsel was going to go after a full-scale indictment and just completely push the plea deal aside. And that's indeed what happened.
I'm not entirely certain how this works, Debbie. If you're automatically barred, if you say, yes, I'm using drugs, does that automatically disqualify you from buying a gun? And if that's the case, you can kind of see where it would probably be routine to lie, at least on that question. But that being said, I just pulled up a Reuters report that said drug users cannot be barred from owning guns, a U.S. court rules. But that's back in August. So when this was happening with Hunter Biden, that leads me to believe that if he had said yes, he would have been prevented from buying a gun.
It looks like CNN, Fox, all of them are covering this live right now. Is there a way we could take CNN's coverage live? They're talking to their senior justice correspondent about this.
It's almost always judges at least give some kind of federal, some kind of prison sentence as a result of a violation like this.
Good to keep in mind as we go forward. Evan Perez, thanks so much. Do stand by. Just want to briefly go back to Kara Scannell, because as you noted briefly prior, they were very close to a deal encompassing not just the gun charge, but also the tax charges with Hunter Biden. Extremely close. It fell apart. Tell us the backstory.
Yeah, Jim. So, I mean, they had reached this deal after a 5-year investigation where they had taken a very expansive look at a range of conduct, including possible foreign bribery, possible failure to register as a foreign agent, a foreign lobbying charge. And then it had narrowed down to the tax charge and the gun charge. And that was something that both Hunter Biden's team and prosecutors had negotiated this plea deal for. And it was essentially, all agreed to. They brought it to the judge in Delaware, and as Evan noted, it was structured in such a way that she was supposed to be essentially a rubber stamp on it. And as part of the deal for the tax charges, Hunter Biden would have faced a sentence of probation. That's what prosecutors agreed to recommend. It would ultimately still be up to the judge to decide, but they were coming in with this idea that it would be probation. And the gun charge was structured differently, where it would go away if he agreed over the course of 24 months to abide by certain things, such as not using drugs, not purchasing a gun. And his lawyers say that he was meeting weekly, regularly with probation now, as though this deal was valid and in place. But then, of course, the judge asked a lot of questions about it, including, what the scope of potential immunity Hunter Biden would have from future charges in connection with the tax component. And then also on the gun charge, she wasn't sure that it was constitutionally sound the way that it was structured. They had wanted her to serve as an arbiter to decide if if the prosecutors thought that Hunter Biden had violated the terms of his release and the terms of the deal. She wasn't sure that would stand up in court, and asked them to rework it. And then soon after that, both sides said that they couldn't find a deal. They were working toward it in court. They'd actually, had come back to the table after a break telling the judge they'd figured it out. But she said, no, I want you to go, back. And then it really did fall apart. They weren't able to see eye to eye on it. And then as this was all becoming public, we learned that the U.S. attorney in Delaware, the Trump appointee David Weiss, had asked for special counsel status, and that Merrick Garland, the attorney general, had granted that. He had said that it had reached a stage in the investigation, and there has not been any clarity on what prompted, what he meant by reached a stage. But there was obviously a lot of scrutiny by Republicans over this investigation, the handling of it, and that has been something that has been a real subject of
You've been listening to
discussion on
CNN's
Capitol Hill.
live coverage on this breaking news that Hunter Biden, the president's son, President Joe Biden's son, of course, has now been indicted federally on 3 gun charges in the state of Delaware.
And Debbie, I'm reading around. I'm just trying to go off my memory. There is a potential prison sentence of 10 years.
I don't know the exact time frame, but I can tell you that the federal system, it's not as kind as the state system when it comes to sentencing. In fact, there are minimum mandatories. It'll depend a lot on if prosecutors recommend a particular sentence. But he's been indicted. This is the very beginning. It doesn't mean that this does not mean he will be convicted. So we're at the very beginning stage of this. The plea deal fell apart, weeks ago. Now the indictment has been filed. Now they'll jockey back and forth for, hearings and evidence and all that other stuff that comes along with these kinds of cases. And then there will be a decision made. Will this case go to trial, or will there be some sort of plea deal struck on the gun charges? Stay tuned. Straight ahead, House Speaker Brad Wilson joining the show, Dave, and we're going to ask him the $1 million question. I'm going to ask him, will he announces if he's running for Senator Mitt Romney's seat, because Senator Romney has said he's not going to seek re-election. Stay tuned for that conversation.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Before Dave and Debbie get started each day, this station is all news, all morning.
And later today, we follow up on those stories as you drive home.
Get important news all morning and all afternoon.
Here on KSL News Radio.
You've tried everything from chiropractors to surgery, and your back still feels like, or your neck never stops feeling like. Well, today, learn more about the Uprightly program. The Uprightly program helps control back and neck symptoms without surgery, physical therapy, chiropractic injections, or pills. Visit liveuprightly.com for a revolutionary and comprehensive long-term solution for your back and neck pain. The Uprightly program was developed across 4 decades by a team of medical professionals who made a major medical breakthrough in spine care with over 95% long-term success. Tens of thousands of Uprightly patients have taken control of their own spine health, which is why this program is one of the only spine care options that offers money back to those who are unsatisfied. Enroll today at liveuprightly.com and save 10% by using promo code KSL Radio 10. That's KSL Radio 10. Or visit the world-leading spine experts at the Uprightly Spine Care Center, located at 812 South State Street in Orem.
Lennox Technology and the people who stand behind it. That's what you could expect when you work with your local Lennox dealer. Call Climate Services. Your Lennox system. Your Lennox dealer. They are truly perfect together, working together season after season to maintain your home's ultimate comfort. For a limited time, get up to $1,500 in rebates, or qualified buyers make no payments, incur no interest for 6 months when financing a new Lennox system. Plus, receive up to $3,200 in federal tax credits. Working with Call Climate Services means you're choosing the best in the business. Call today at 801-298-4810, 801-298-4810, or visit online at callclimate.com. Callclimate.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Dealer license number 3582-345501.
Everything that you'd ever seen with Miranda Lambert on it, I have my finger on the pulse of what it is. Idlewind, I've seen every article of clothing. I've spent hours and hours sending inspirations. I've sent clothes that I love and fabrics, and I'm involved in every single garment that you see. It's important to me that it is an extension of my music, and it's an extension of who I am. I always want it to stay as honest as my music. Idlewind at Boot Barn.
Imagine how inconvenient your life would be without power. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, and no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have the power when you need it most. Generac generators automatically provide backup after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Schedule a free quote today with Genco Generators, your premier Generac service dealer in Utah. Call 801-295-0872 or online at gencogenerators.net.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. The Policy Project is a nonprofit organization that promotes and advocates for solution-based policy to remove barriers to education and the workforce. Director of Policy and Government Affairs, Mary Catherine Perry, shares more on the launch of their new initiative, the Teen Center Project.
The number of Utah students experiencing mental health struggles, unstable housing, and other physiological needs is increasing. Over the past year, we have been working on the Teen Center Project, a public-private partnership between the Utah Legislature and private donors to create a space within Utah high schools that provides students support such as laundry facilities, showers, a food pantry, and a trusted adult who can connect students and families with outside resources for more sustained and comprehensive care. Through the Policy Project's advocacy and support of Utah community members, we secured a $15 million appropriation from the Utah Legislature, as well as additional funds from several private donors. This will allow over 60 Utah high schools to access a grant to build a teen center in their schools. Several Utah school districts have piloted the concept and have seen incredible results, including high service utilization, positive academic and social outcomes, and increased graduation rates for their most vulnerable and at-risk students.
Join the movement and visit thepolicyproject.org for more information. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dale Spalding. First, Utah's Commissioner of Higher Education resigned yesterday. David Wolstenhulme has been in that job for the last 4 years. Second, 2 people died overnight in a crash in San Juan County. Third, a judge in New Mexico has suspended the governor's order banning the carrying of guns in Albuquerque. Right now, it's 73 and mostly clear in Salt Lake City. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Do we have House Speaker Brad Wilson? No. He was on the line, and now he's not on the line. Shoot. I was hoping to ask him that question, that $1 million question. Are you going to run for the United States Senate?
Yeah, all of this because Mitt Romney dropped the bombshell yesterday and really surprised us, saying he would not seek a second term.
Yeah, because he's getting up there in years.
At the end of another term, I'd be in my mid-80s. Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
All right, so we're going to wait for House Speaker Brad Wilson to call the show in just a few minutes. Hopefully that happens. In the meantime, let's get back to developing news, the story that we're tracking out of Delaware right now, that the president's son, Hunter Biden, has been indicted on 3 gun charges. KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas calling in right now. Good morning, Greg. Not a surprise that this happened. I didn't think the special counsel had any other choice after that plea deal fell apart.
You're right. And in fact, I think it was really wise of the Department of Justice, Debbie, to appoint the prosecutor who had already been working on the case, but working under the auspices of the Department of Justice. Well, when he's appointed as a special prosecutor, he can make decisions independent of the DOJ, and that's what he did. So he made the decision on his own as a special prosecutor to go ahead and indict Hunter Biden on 3 felony gun charges in relation to his illegal purchase of a firearm while he was a drug user.
So there's a question on this form, this government form, that asks, are you taking drugs when you're trying to purchase a firearm? If you say, yes, I am taking drugs, does that automatically disqualify you from purchasing a gun?
Yes, it would have disqualified him. So there are certain disqualifiers, including that. If you've been convicted of a felony, certain felonies or crimes involving domestic violence, you may, if you're not here in the country legally, there are certain things that would disqualify a person from purchasing a firearm. And they rely, Dave, a lot in part on sort of self-reporting. They do the background checks, of course, and that can take a while. But some things like, are you a current drug user, there really isn't much way to prove one way or the other whether the person's telling the truth about that.
I saw in a report from Reuters that the 5th U.S. Circuit Court said it was unconstitutional to prohibit even illegal drug owners or users from owning a firearm. Has that changed since? I mean, obviously, when Hunter Biden had filled this out, it was illegal. Have those laws changed now?
No, they haven't, and they're really in flux. And actually, that's a great question because it sometimes it depends on what part of the country you're living in and where you are. And he may very well raise that as a defense and say, look, that particular law that I'm being charged with is actually unconstitutional and has been found that way in some jurisdictions. And there may be some nuances. For example, are you currently a drug user as opposed to maybe have you been in treatment for drug use or something like that? So it may depend on the exact wording of the question and what his use of drugs were at the time.
Greg, you've been a prosecutor in your past for a number of years. You're now a defense attorney. You've worked not only in state courts but also in federal courts, defending federal defendants as an attorney. Take us behind the scenes. When that plea deal fell apart, as a prosecutor, how frustrated would that have made you or not? Maybe it does make you frustrated. Like, great, now I'm going to come back in. I'm going to slam dunk a 3-count indictment over Hunter Biden's head, and we'll see him in court.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost more of an embarrassment than frustration because you do all this work. You sit down with the defendant, you sit down with your agents, the defense attorney, and you come up with a deal, and you present it to the judge, and the judge asks questions that maybe the attorneys in this case hadn't thought about very well, Debbie. And the crux of it was, does this grant immunity for everything else? And his attorneys, of course, said, yeah, this is the end of it. And the prosecutor said, no, we're still investigating other charges. And the judge is like, what are you guys doing? It was an embarrassment because it was really sort of a lack of a meeting of the minds.
So 3 federal gun charges. Any idea what that would mean as far as prison time, or could he get off with some probation?
Kind of both. I mean, I think the guidelines for crimes like that could be up to 5 years on each of them. With his lack of a prior criminal history, it may not be. But if he did 6 months in jail or a year or something, even in a federal prison, it wouldn't be unusual. It would also not be unusual for that type of crime that he do some sort of a deferred sentence, like like probation or halfway house or something like that.
Okay, but
yes, he could go to prison.
I want to bounce this off you, Greg. So we're a long way from that because this would either have to end in a plea deal for Hunter Biden, another attempt at a plea deal, or it would go to trial. And there would be a jury seated. And if the jury were to convict him, this is just totally a hypothetical. There are minimum mandatory sentences in the federal system. It's not like the state system where they get this indeterminate amount of time by a judge and then they go before a parole board after 6 months and the defendant or the now convicted person gets to beg their way out of prison early. The federal system is sticky that way. I mean, once you're in it there, you're there to stay. And the judge doesn't have a lot of leeway with the sentencing guidelines that are in place. Does that play in here?
Oh, yes, very much so. And in fact, if he, for example, goes to trial like you're talking about, he doesn't get what we call acceptance of responsibility or substantial assistance. Those are two factors that a judge can weigh in reducing what would otherwise be a mandatory sentence. So if he goes to trial and loses, the judge, like you said, Debbie, will almost have no choice at all but to send him to a prison. So he's probably going to sit down with his attorneys and try to resurrect the deal, or at least some form of the deal. Obviously, it's not at all the same deal that he had before, and hope that he can get a sentence of probation or a minimal jail or prison term.
You had already referenced the role of the special prosecutor, David Weiss. Can you explain that a little bit more of how he was appointed under Donald Trump, I believe, under the DOJ of Donald Trump, and then what happened once President Biden took over?
So normally when a president takes over, they will recreate all the U.S. attorneys throughout the entire country. But this one had some weird twists, and I'll try to make it short. Weiss was already investigating Biden, and so Biden felt like it didn't make sense to take the Trump appointee off the case, that would look bad. And I think that President Biden took the high road and said, no, I'm going to leave that particular U.S. attorney in place because I don't want it to appear that I'm acting politically. However, he still worked under the Merrick, the U.S. attorney that Biden had appointed for the country. So he still was answering to the Department of Justice and the United States attorney. And so that sort of created some oversight that maybe arguably the Biden administration still had some involvement in. So appointing him special prosecutor gave him complete carte blanche to do whatever he wanted without the oversight of his superiors at the U.S. Department of Justice.
And once he was freed from kind of any of those restrictions, then he has chosen, once that plea deal fell through, to charge Hunter Biden, now indicted on 3 gun charges. Greg Skordas, thank you.
Yeah, big story developing right now. Hunter Biden indicted on 3 gun charges out of Delaware. These are federal charges. This is the very beginning of the process. As we reported, that other plea deal that he was in court for a few weeks ago fell apart. Now the special counsel has come back and charged him with 3 felony gun charge counts. I just spoke to Maria Chaleos. She's going to dive into this more during her afternoon news. And, of course, Jeff Kaplan as well. We'll have more on your drive home.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon. This is Utah's Noon News. I'm Maria Chaleos. KSL's top story, you've been hearing it here. It's breaking news on KSL News Radio. Hunter Biden has been indicted on federal firearms charges in a long-running probe weeks after a plea deal fell apart. A federal indictment filed in Delaware says Biden lied about his drug use when he bought a firearm in 2018 while struggling with addiction to crack cocaine. Today's indictment comes as congressional Republicans pursue